All right, well, let's start the episode for realsies. We'll see. I'll listen back through that to see if there's anything worth,
No, there's
worth
nothing
keeping.
redeemable. Everything's gonna get us canceled.
There might be one or two lines that would be funny to have right before the opening. We'll see.
Listen, Kyle, Tim has podcasted with Derek for years. Like, we're fine. Like,
Oh man,
Yeah,
the things that I should have cut that I didn't. There's a lot. There's a lot.
Oh,
of those
same
things.
thing with Jeff and I's old podcast where he's like, I know we said a lot of crazy shit, but like no one listens, and I didn't want to edit, so I just threw it up. I'm like, all right,
Yeah. Exactly.
I'll
what's
roll that
happened.
dice with you. I don't care.
That's it. All right. Well, I don't know if Jeff or Derek are going to be able to join us tonight. I think Jeff will be jumping on as soon as he's free. Derek, I don't know if he'll be able to join us or not. Although I wish he works. I think he, out of all of us, is the only one. That's definitely the only one playing Outriders World Slayer DLC, and I do want to get his impressions on that. But we'll
Very
have to wait on
important.
those.
I don't know.
Kyle, I didn't hear what you said, but I assume it was nothing positive.
I already have the platinum. So
Yeah, that's fair. And then also Monster Hunter Rise Sunbreak, which I do fully plan on getting and playing. I just haven't yet, and I think Derek already got that too. So maybe he's playing those instead of meeting with us right now. Probably that's probably what's happening.
Lucky.
So
Pound
do you guys
town.
did either of you play either of those by any chance?
No, I just felt like I didn't play enough. Like I have a lot of Rise to play still, you
Mhm.
know. So I don't know if I want to buy Monster Hunter DLC when I still have a lot of that Prime game to play still.
This episode's brought to you by Jack and Coke, by the way.
Ooh,
That's
nice.
that's what's in here.
And no, and I'm not going to play Outright. I'm just not going to play them. Sorry. But
Yeah.
Well,
I really wish I had played a little more Rise so I could like really be stoked about this like DLC. You know, I played like 14 or 15 hours of that game, but like it's not enough.
Dude, same.
I'm not going in with like top tier gear, and I don't even know if that's how this DLC works. You know, I guess I'm a little out of the loop on the expansion, so I would like to hear about someone who was playing it. So
If anyone that's listening or is watching hasn't gone to check this out, go check out the Nintendo Direct reaction. I actually gave Monster Hunter Rise that same exact thing that Kyle just said. Like I think I've played maybe 24 hours, maybe not quite, maybe 20 hours or so. Some of that was spent playing with Kyle. That was a lot of fun. It's also fun solo. Like it's just a really great Monster Hunter game. For some reason, it didn't do the same thing that Monster Hunter World did, in that I couldn't play anything else. I only wanted to play this, and I don't know why that is. There's nothing wrong with the game whatsoever. I don't know if it was
I think it's just phases,
timing.
you know? Like,
I just wasn't in the right phase for it. But anyway,
I put maybe 140 hours into Monster Hunter World. I think
Dude,
that
so-
game
yeah,
is
yeah.
one of the greatest games that come out in the last like
Yeah.
10 years. You know?
yeah, I
So-
completed that on one console and then played a good 30-40 hours on another one. Like I love
It's
that game.
brave. It's super brave to start that game
Isn't
over.
it? Isn't it brave? Thank you. Thank you for acknowledging that for me. So at some point we'll have some Sunbreak impressions for you.
Well,
Just not.
I guess I'll
today.
have to change the thumbnail.
Yep, take it out of there. We don't have enough.
Hey, we talked about it, you know.
Yeah, sure. Yeah,
We-
sure.
We referred to it vaguely.
It's like half the
it
thumbnail.
exists,
So.
none of us played it, you know.
I think
All right,
there
well-
are monsters in the game, and you hunt them, right? I
You
mean,
hunt them, yeah. There's probably some Sunbreaker in it,
you
right?
break the sun, right?
Yeah,
And then
gotta break
the
some sun.
Yep.
Yeah.
So we usually try to keep it P around here, which means positive for those of you who are uninitiated. We try to keep it P.
No, we don't.
But we do, Jeff. We do.
No.
But
What are we?
I
What are
have
we
a-
crapping on right now? What are we?
I
doing?
have a
Chapter.
recommendation to tell you to avoid. This is usually the kind of game that most of us will be like, "Oh, the art style's cool." It is, and it looks like it could be fun. It does look that way. But I downloaded Source of Madness, and within 30 minutes requested a refund from Steam to their credit. Gave it to me
I
like
have that on my wish list, so I'm gonna go remove
I
that right
don't
now.
think it's good at all. The movement, it's very floaty and weird.
yeah.
The combat is, you know what? I don't even have to go into too many descriptions on this. There's so many good side-scrolling action RPGs. There's so many good ones, and this is kind of in that same vein, and it's not good. There's some creative things that they're doing artistically and whatever with the movement. I just don't like it. I think it's not fun to play. So I recommend against Source of Madness, despite the fact that the art style does look pretty cool. But everything has a ragdoll effect on it, which is very strange too, whether they're attacking you or whether they're dead. And their dead body of these giant monsters kind of flops around the screen. It's hard to see, and then I don't know. It's just not my favorite thing.
It looks like I mean, not looks like, but I guess it's the same style of game of like Moonscars. I put up that demo of Moonscars, and that game is sick.
So some of the combat actually reminded me, well, the dashing at least, the movement reminded me of you know in Ori when you finally upgrade to the dash where you kind of hold in a button in a direction. So it has that element to it.
Okay.
That's probably the only positive. Like the actual attacks are not.
Yeah.
It just doesn't feel right, and the hitboxes are very strange. Like you could have a monster that's filling up this much of the screen, but the hitbox could be here, so you can kind of go like it's a very small little core hitbox, which is just very odd. It's very very odd.
Well, that's
so. There you go. There's one to stay away from. I wanted to throw that.
That's rare. That's rare for us guys.
Yeah, stay away from Source of Madness. One that I did finally play. I mentioned it, but I wanted to say that I actually played through the demo of Contraband Police. This game is hilarious. It's not intentionally funny, and it's not like it's a bad game that's funny. It's just this idea of being a simulation game where you are in a make-believe, very Russian-like country, or actually you're more like a country that probably borders on a country like Russia. It's a made-up place, but they all have accents, and it looks like they're coming in from places like Russia. And you're a border patrol agent, essentially. You get trained on how to match up their papers with their passports, and whether or not to stamp them to approve or not, and then whether to tell them to get out of the car and go search their car. Please. Like, it's hilarious. Well, you actually can search their car too, and you can use all these different weapons to like rip open the seats and stuff, and look under their engine, and you're trying to find contraband. That's literally what you're trying to do. And then when you're done for the day, you go sleep in your trashy trailer. And by the way, the guys anyone that you find contraband, you put them in your little holding cell, and then you can drive them to the labor camp down the road, and you you get money for that. So this game is hilarious. This game is so fun.
Why am I not surprised that this is a game that you play, Tim? You love doing games that are
like you could wreck people's lives. It's so hilarious. It's great.
Like Tim loves playing games that are like things that you can actually do in real life. Like
mowing
lawns,
flipping houses. About that I blew off in the chat like a moment ago. I was just like, I don't care.
I said house flipper. You said, is that a TV show? You know what? Don't answer that.
Never mind. I don't care. Yeah, I don't care.
Yeah, no, House Flipper's on Game Pass, guys. If you want to do some.
This is coming from the guy who's played 14 hours also of like gas station simulators. So I'm not. I shouldn't be throwing stones. So I'm sorry.
No, it's just funny. Continuing this theme that Tim has going is funny.
Listen, at one point I used to pretend like, no, I just try them out because whatever. Like, no, I actually enjoy for some reason these kind of mindless exercises in like real life stuff that I don't actually have to go do it in real life. I don't know why. I don't know what it is. Yeah. Part of it, living in Colorado, I haven't mowed an actual lawn in 6.5 years. No, 7 years now. I haven't mowed an actual lawn. So that's why things like the lawnmower thing, I'm like, all right, let me do this. This is kind of fun. But all that stuff, I lose interest in all of it after not too long, but it's just fun for a little bit. I don't know why. I don't know why.
Whatever makes you happy, Tim.
I think of it actually almost like a puzzle game a little bit. Like you're just trying to figure out the most, can't think of the right word, but like the most cost-effective and time-efficient
streamlined
way to get things done. Yeah, it's so silly. It's very, very silly. But Contraband Police, the whole idea of it's funny because it's it feels very real world in terms of like, oh, is this anti-Russia? Is this just happened? Is it made by someone? Like, it just feels very interesting because you're trying to stop all these horrible smugglers from whatever the countries are, and they're all made up countries. But anyway, it's pretty funny. There's a demo out for it. The game's not out yet though. But I want to hear what you guys think about another demo that just dropped, and that's Live Alive, or is it Live Evil? I don't know. When I looked at the picture, it looked like evil on the other side of it.
Well, maybe that's what they're trying to.
Maybe.
Yeah.
Is it not? Is it Live Alive?
Let's Live Alive. Yeah, it's Live Alive.
Not Live Alive.
Oh
no.
I think I've been saying Live Alive too, to be honest.
I mean, we could check the Nintendo thing again.
I don't know.
I don't know if they say how to. I don't think they say how to pronounce
it. Yeah.
You'd have to maybe listen to see what they say. Yeah.
So we can all agree it's a stupid title. That's what
Jeff, Jeff, you just got here. Shut up. God.
What an emotional journey I had with this game, to be
honest. Let's talk about your thoughts on the demo, which the game doesn't come out for another 3 weeks, but what do you guys think about the demo?
Yeah, this is one of my most anticipated games, and I jumped like right into the Japanese ones, Japanese chapter, because I was like, I want to play as a ninja, that sounds cool. Apparently a lot of the tutorial isn't there if you just like jump right into that tutorial or right into that chapter. So I was frustrated. I had no idea. I was like, I don't know how to get across this map. I don't know what it wants me to do. It seems like all the characters are too hard to fight. It took Dan giving me a lot of tips to actually
Kyle,
get through this game.
You could even say that I was being like your Shifu a little bit.
No, I'm not going to say that. I'm 100% not saying that.
He will not go there.
I will actually not say that now.
You know what?
Proud of you. I'm proud of you
I
for not
take
saying
back
that.
all of my
Yeah.
help. I'm erasing all of that from your.
Yo, yeah, well, I beat the game, so period. Or beat the demo.
Yeah,
No. But I hated what I was experiencing at first. I couldn't
Mm.
wrap my head around it. Nothing was clicking. I felt like
Yeah.
everything was like obtuse for no reason. Well, yeah, I didn't have the game explained to me really. So I went back and played the first level, which was like the Chinese kung fu, kind of story, very Crouching Tiger, Hidden
I
Dragon.
just kind of hit A
Imperial
for the
China,
menus
right?
and it started me there. So I guess I just kind of hit go.
See, and like
that.
it started me like if I were to just hit A, like if I kept on going through, it would have started me at the future one. So that's
Oh.
why I was like, oh, so I could just pick whatever I want.
See, it
like,
looked like Octopath Traveler, where you kind of pick.
it did. Yeah,
That's what it looked like. So I
Right.
didn't think it mattered either
I got
way.
those vibes as well. Yeah,
I don't think it does, but like I just happened to do the Imperial China one first, and then I did the future one, and then the Ninja one, China. And then so like I basically had already played the whole thing. I was like, oh, it makes sense to start with the Imperial China one because I think it's just more fleshed out and kind of like explains.
I think it explains the radar a little better, to be honest. And again, maybe like I skipped over something in the starting the Japanese chapter first. I'm not exactly sure, but like I just know that when I started playing the Kung Fu one, like it was clicking a lot better. Here, a little more powerful, like you were saying, Dan. You have some extra help in that chapter in terms of your team. So like I felt like
got several moves to pick from.
Yeah, you do, and it's really in depth if you really want to like create some distance between you and a character or close some distance between you and a character. There was one move I was doing where it was called like something retreat, like monkey retreat, and like you go up and like slap him a bunch of times and backflip 2 spaces back so you create some distance,
Yep.
So it's really cool, once you really start like understanding how that combat works.
Is it fair to call this a turn-based strategy game with the grid?
Kinda. I feel like it's got that action bar. So
it has
like
the grid.
It does have the grid, yeah.
But if you don't move, everything freezes, right? So, like,
I don't know.
like,
are the action bars filling, or is it whenever you move the action bar?
So
fills?
everything's happening, I guess, sort of real time because essentially, like, if you basically just kept moving your character, the other characters the enemies will eventually just start kind of moving towards you too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So it's not like
the tigers. They're real dumb. They'll sit there.
But, right.
Oh yeah, I stayed there in that forest and just grinded those tigers for a while,
but
which you didn't have to. But
it's not like you're moving and then like end turn and then like the enemy moves end turn. So it's not quite like that, but
yeah.
It's
a little more involved. I feel like it's a cross between like Final Fantasy X-2 and Chrono Trigger, with the way that the action gauges are. But like if you just sit there, like the enemy will overtake you. Like it'll take its turns without you taking yours. So
but your movement is very important compared to something.
Yeah,
like
where you're spaced at and like where you are and where you're attacking from matters. So and I feel like that's very RTS. Like that triangle strategy is like, hey, if you're attacking from the side, the front, and the back, you're doing different damage and stuff like that. So spatial awareness is important for this game. I feel like much like a tactics game. I really ended up enjoying it a lot. I was actually surprised at the 180 I did because I was super frustrated like with this game at first, and I was just like, well, this is what happens when you just don't, have good tutorials, or if it's user error, which it could have been, and I skipped all of them. That could have been an issue as well. But it's definitely a game you want to take your time with and like just try and understand the mechanics, because it's not just like something you go in and you have the comfort of a menu to like really choose like your moves like that. You really need to know what your moves are doing, where it's going to leave you. There's moves that you can put down that are like area effect, and if you just stay there, like you'll hurt yourself, so it's like there's just a lot going on in terms of like where you need to be spaced at, and that ended up really working for me.
Because stuff affects the whole ground on that grid for a little bit of time. That's interesting. I love the 2D, 3D visuals. I think it looks really nice. I think the style works. Of course, we've seen this before in a few other games that have done it, but I think they do a good job with it in this one too. The combat didn't. I played through the whole Imperial China one. I started one of the other ones. I forget which. I think I started the Japanese one, maybe. I can't remember. Like
were you a ninja or were the
ninja? I mean, yeah, ninja.
Okay.
Yeah. I don't know. I just didn't think that the combat's just not my favorite thing. Like I get if it's fun for some people, like I totally fine, but to me the combat isn't. I shouldn't say it's not clicking because it makes sense to me. I get it. I'm just not having that much fun with that kind of combat right now, and it could be what Kyle you were talking about earlier with a phase that I'm in. Whether it's I'm in the mood for this or I'm not. So I don't know if it's that. It definitely could be that, or if maybe I'm just more particular about a grid-based battlefield type combat than I realized. And now that I'm seeing this version of it, I'm like, no, I don't like this as much.
This is not my favorite grid-based combat. If we
Yeah.
were gonna start ranking, like hard grid-based like tactics games, like this is one that I feel. I don't. Sometimes I don't even know where I'm moving. Like I'll move one extra spot that I don't want to, and I feel like there's some kind of grid stuff there that I don't love.
I'm also playing a little bit of that King Arthur game I talked about, and I'm that King Arthur Knight's Tale, and that is also a grid-based tactics RPG. Although it's different than this, obviously it's much more XCOM like. But I don't know if it's that. Like I kind of prefer that style a lot more. I don't know what it is, but I love the art style here, and I think the overall style and the characters and the colors and the presentation is all great. And I think people will enjoy this game if that's what you want to play. But I'm glad I played the demo because now I don't think I'm gonna buy it. But I do think some folks will enjoy it. So, Dan, what did you think?
Before I looked up the trailer, it is Live Alive. So
Live.
And obviously,
Cool. So
there's a play
even
on
more
YouTube.
ridiculous. Got it.
Stupid
Yes.
name.
Well, it's very Japanese. Jeff is a stupid name. So
Yeah, I know. Everybody's named Jeff. I know this. Thank you.
every white man is Jeff. But yeah, no, I mean the combat is. I've not really seen something quite like where it's like it's a mixture of like all these little different things. It's RTS. It's like just straight up RPG, but then it's like again, there's no like ATBs or like end.
So help me out with the
turns and
RTS thing. I don't see a real-time strategy element here.
No, just more the grid. I mean, like the kind of traditional
turn-based
He's
RPG.
like tactics, yeah.
Yeah, like a
I'm
tactics
assuming he
game.
means like tactics.
Sorry, I mean like
Okay.
a tactics game.
Okay.
Like a Final Fantasy Tactics.
I was thinking like StarCraft or something like that. Like
No.
RTS.
And that's what an RTS is, and I use RTS like Dan does.
I'm following you.
And to be fair, Dan and I are wrong. So, but I use it the same way, Dan. So.
Yeah, I won.
Yeah.
We're never wrong.
What do I get?
But yeah, I think it's I don't know if it's like purposefully like kind of like how I figured out the Imperial China chapter is like easier. Like I kind of maybe from the outside, I don't know if like difficulty levels or like some kind of like system that tells you like, oh, maybe start with like this, but it clearly wants you to pick whatever you want to pick. So, I mean, there's no specific order to play them in, but it does seem like, I mean, Kyle jumped into the feudal Japan one and was having a little bit of a trickier time because there's like there's no mini map in that one.
Do they not do tutorials? Because in the Imperial China one, they were showing me tutorials as I went.
There's
through.
tutorials for certain things.
Yeah,
Okay.
I think each chapter focuses its tutorial on different aspects that are specific to that chapter.
Gotcha.
But there are some things that like cascade across, like the radar, like for once, and I try and follow those orange dots I was talking about, which is like leading you to the main quest. Like that is something that you can learn across all 3 chapters. But it's something I felt like was only talked about in the China chapter. So
yeah,
see,
you didn't play that first, you didn't really get it. I could have skipped over it, like in the Japanese tutorials, but. I felt like it was really clear in the Chinese tutorials.
In the Ninja one too, it's like it's almost like more specific where you kind of get that actual like scroll. You get it like a map of the grounds of that facility that you're infiltrating. So it's almost kind of like use that because like depending on what section you're in, when you bust that out, it actually colors it in. So you kind of like know where you are on that map. So it's trying to almost like make it a little extra like I'm actually looking at a map. But but yeah, that one's like a little more difficult because you're just the single ninja infiltrating this place where like literally everybody's a bad guy there. They're all trying to be sneaky. Like some of them are like maids or whatever. And if you like respond to them in a certain way, be like, I know what your deal is. And they're like, I thought I was fooling you. And then you start a fight. So but yeah, I think it's cool. The combat is unique to me. It was clicking for me because I do like kind of like how Kyle described like certain moves have certain elements to them that add a bit of strategy to them. Like you're hitting an enemy, but then it makes you kind of do a flip a couple squares back, so you're kind of giving yourself some space, things like that. I think that's pretty cool. So I'm interested to see what the other chapters give and kind of what the.
I want to play the cowboy chapter bad. Like
that one's cool. There's
are they connected in any way? Do they connect like the people from?
Yeah, I don't know if maybe like further down the line everything kind of connects as one. Maybe.
That's what I loved about Octopath, which by the way, now that I'm mentioning it twice, I really want to go back and play that game and finish it because I never finished that game.
That one felt so separate too. That's kind of what I wasn't liking about it. Everything felt so like disconnected.
But they start to combine. Like I remember in Octopath, the paths start to intersect and you start to join up together, and it's really cool when that happens.
But yeah, I mean, I threw it.
Will you guys buy this game? Will you buy Live Alive?
I feel like I need to beat Triangle Strategy before I buy like another strategy adjacent, but I am gonna play it for sure, and I'm probably gonna end up buying it day one, but I just know the responsible thing to do is not buy it because I have another JRPG in my life right now. So
yeah, I was definitely intrigued enough by the demo for sure. I'm very curious about some of the other, like the near future one looks pretty cool. It has I think it has like almost like a little world map. So like this, it almost feels like I don't know how many characters there are, but however many there are, like it's like 8 different games. Yeah, all kind of like combined, like mini RPGs combined into one, which is pretty cool. So yeah, I like it. I think it's cool.
Jeff, what are you gonna play this one day one? Dropping all $60 on this one or 50?
I have had time for 0 games this week, guys. I don't know what to tell you.
That's what you told us. That's it. That's
always watching TV.
You just said that.
It's not just that. It's like the studio time, and then I get home like at 7 p.m. and I'm like, well, I don't have time for anything. But
you get home at 7 p.m. and have no time for. You sound like the oldest man in the world.
Yeah, after studio time, which takes up like most of the day.
Yeah.
When I get home, I don't want to do anything because mentally I'm just spent. I'm having to overthink certain sections of songs and what.
We get it. You're a pop star. We get it. You're a very famous musician. We get it.
I'm a very, very successful, very famous. I'm too big.
He is basically the male Taylor
what are you
Swift.
Doing here?
Basically,
I am male Taylor Swift at this point, which I guess would be Harry Styles. I don't know what's the equivalent. I have no idea. So Ed Sheeran. I guess Ed Sheeran's the equivalent. There you go. Ed Sheeran. We nailed it, guys.
Does he complain about his girlfriends in every song, or?
I will. I have no idea. I don't listen enough to his lyrics to know. I don't even notice. He raps a lot sometimes.
Ooh, I don't like that. No.
He's like, in like a British accent. He's like,
I like rap fine. Don't want rap from him.
Yeah, exactly. He's like, hello, I'm Ed Sheeran, and I'm rapping in this song.
He was in Game of Thrones at some point, I think.
Yeah, it's a new one.
They really didn't like that.
No, get out of here. Get out of here, Ed Sheeran.
I hate all of this.
So I do have this one downloaded with the intent of playing at least a demo before I make a decision. But I will use the demo to make a decision if I'll buy it.
Yeah.
It's nice to have that.
I think
I'm on the fence.
Gonna buy it. It sounds like Kyle probably will, but maybe not right away.
Yep.
I'm probably not gonna buy this game, and then so we'll cover the whole gamut. The whole game.
Sure.
Yeah.
And I will still end the year with not having touched the demo yet.
Yeah, that's fine. That's totally
I'm gonna get to it, guys.
I'm fine with being that guy.
One thing I want to mention too is the demo progress apparently carries over, which is very cool, especially because the game comes out in a couple of weeks. So that's nice. All right. I saw that someone's been playing Divinity Original Sin 2. Nice kind of throwback, which is weird because that game's not that old. Who's playing Divinity Original Sin 2?
Got a PC game it up, bro.
Yeah.
Is that you?
Yeah,
Dan?
well, I mean, Derek was getting all sassy with me on the last episode, so he's like, "Oh, do you even use that thing? Do you even use that?" It's like, well, yes, Derek, I do.
I didn't realize that's a PC behind you until
it is. You can even see your faces, real tiny versions of your faces.
Oh, look at us.
No, I mean, I can't.
I can't at all. Now I see the dim slots for your RAM.
You know, my bigger concern is that Derek's taunt had an effect on you that made you decide how to spend your time this week.
That's not. Don't let him carry any weight.
That's not very alpha.
I see my hands.
I don't know what to do with my hands.
No, I don't.
You almost had a butterfly. It looked like.
No, I don't give a shit what Derek had to say. I just there was the sale going on. No, I know.
What is it? Bull poop bullshit. That's
I've never seen that.
Why?
Yeah. That's like I think that's real like sign language.
That's like sign language bullshit.
That's good. It's very elaborate. That's very elaborate.
You know what it is. If someone just came up to you and did that, you'd be like,
bullshit.
It would take me a minute, but I'd be like, oh, I know what that is. I see what you're doing.
Sometimes they just nail it. You know what I mean?
Yeah, exactly.
So Divinity Original Sin 2.
What a cool game that I have not given enough time. Have you? How much have you played?
That was like the top-rated game of whatever year it came out.
I need to play this game.
It's still one of the top-rated games.
Dude, it just feels like such a like if you played like a Diablo or like a Baldur's Gate back in the day, like that's what it basically kind of is, right? I mean, or not so much Diablo because
way more hardcore story, I would say. Well, in Diablo's case, Baldur's Gate's a really good example. Of what this is, for sure.
Because it's not
or
like
Icewind Dale or Neverwinter Nights or something like that.
Neverwinter, that's another one. Yeah, it's not so much free roaming and slashing as opposed to like you have action points, AP, So like when you start a battle, you basically move around. That costs AP. Doing just your basic attack or special attack, so on and so forth, costs AP. Yeah, it just has like that vibe and that feeling of like a really old PC game that just has really deep lore, like a Skyrim or something, like an Elder Scrolls game. And like you talk to characters and like you say things and that's
you can loot everything like Skyrim.
Right, and people will get mad at you. They'll attack you. Like there's permadeath and party members.
You can attack town guards and characters if you want to. Yeah.
There's a stat of like the people on your team that if they start to not like you, if it gets to a certain point, they're just like, I'm out of here, dude. Like I don't want anything to do with you. Like depending on who's in your party. Like so I was just doing a side quest where this chick was trying to get revenge on a guy that I think was maybe kept her as a slave and then like sliced her cheek. So she like wanted revenge. So she tracked him down, found him, she kills him. And then the other guy in my party was like pissed because they were the same race. So he was like, "Oh, how dare you kill a dreamer or whatever?" Like he like reacted to her doing that. So like things like that. So that probably pissed him off. Yeah, it's clear. I'm only literally a couple hours in, but it's very obvious from the jump that it's like a super deep game, just super deep, mad deep.
Dude, this is one of those ones that whenever the Steam Deck that order does come through and I'm able to get it because I own it on Steam, I am totally going to give this another shot. I really want to try it.
So I bought the definitive edition. If it's still on sale, I believe it was $18. I think it's normally $40. So I would nab that if you want it, if you haven't bought it. So
these games and like Pillar of Eternity and stuff like that, very overwhelming to me.
Yeah, it's very intense.
Very intense. Very intense, dense experiences.
That needs to be like, this is what I'm gonna do for the next 7.
It has to be your game. It has to be the thing that takes your life over.
It's a hard game to just diddle. You know, you can't just.
Yeah, it's not a diddle. It's not a diddle
Divinity. It's not Diddlevinity.
Dude, no, there's no chunky slices.
It's dive in. You know.
Yeah, exactly.
Guys, we're doing a good job right now.
Yeah, right. They're just saying
this is the best gaming podcast on the planet.
You don't want a chunky slice. You want the whole pie.
Yeah, exactly. Sure. Yeah.
True.
But I tried playing Pillars of Eternity.
I've always wanted to play more of. I've played 1 and 2, but
I played a little bit of co-op in this game with Derek actually, and yes, okay. And very briefly, like we got through a few battles, but then there was a lot of talking in the village, and I think he had to go, and then we never circled back to it. It's one of those games that's like this is probably better experience solo unless you can both commit to it. Like maybe if you've got a friend who you MMO together for dozens of hours.
You treat it like a D&D campaign.
Yes.
Like how you do it. Like, hey, every week we're going to get together.
I can see it working if you really plan it out. Otherwise, to me,
solo. That is the game where like you can kill NPCs that like give you quests. And,
but
like,
I failed early on, man. Like we tried to coordinate a thing where he, if I'm remembering correctly, he either blew up a barrel or something that got oil everywhere, which actually was going to do damage, or maybe he threw an oil.
Well, it slows you down, but you can set the oil on fire. So.
Yeah, it's early on. There's an early battle you can do that, and I went to cast something or throw a fire or something, and I aimed it wrong. I hit the wall in front of us, and I burned us both to death. Like we both died because I
happens to the best of us.
Wall right in front of us. And I remember him being like, "This is such a mistake." I was like, "I know."
Yeah,
I know it is.
But that's what's so cool about some of these like super deep like PC centric RPGs. Like it's just like little things like that. Oh, there's oil on the ground. Yeah, I can set that on fire. Like obviously, you know, like. And this is something, in my opinion, because I tried Pillars of Eternity, I think on PlayStation Now, like a couple of years ago, and I was like, this doesn't feel great on here with the controller. This very much feels like something that you want a mouse and keyboard for.
Yeah.
And with Divinity Original Sin 2, I would absolutely say, like, I definitely am preferring playing it on PCs.
Although the developers, or is the publisher, I'm not sure, but they just were talking about on Twitter, talking about the Steam Deck, and they were playing their own game on the Steam Deck, and all excited that how well it works there. So I do know that it's technically Steam Deck verified or whatever, but I'm with you. Games like this feel like mouse and keyboard if you can. But this game's even on the Switch. I mean, it's not that crazy intensive.
Yeah,
no, it's not. Yeah, it's definitely on the Switch.
It's 5 years old, so it's not super new.
Yeah. I've been playing, so kind of in that same vein, sort of. I mentioned earlier King Arthur, Knight's Tale. I don't remember if I talked about it on the podcast. I talked about it in a video we put out on our channel earlier this week of games you should check out on sale on Steam, which, by the way, that sale runs for 6 more days as of now. When this is going to release, there'll be 4 more days left of that. So basically the rest of this week for that Steam sale. So I listed a few games that you guys should go check out, 9 games you should check out on there. But one of them is King Arthur, Knight's Tale. This game right now it's $30 even on sale. Like normally it's 45. So it's not a huge sale. I'm not pretending like everyone needs to rush out and buy it because it's such an incredible deal. It'll probably be on a steeper sale later. But I do encourage you to maybe throw it on the wish list or just keep it on your radar. This game is incredible. The visuals are great. The lore is awesome. It's that kind of Arthurian legend, but it's a different take on it where you're actually Sir Mordred. And at the very beginning, it looks very much like the opening Lord of the Rings battle between these 2 huge factions, and then you got the major players that face off on the battlefield against each other, and that's Mordred and Arthur, and you essentially kill each other very violently. You both die, and then there's a huge dragon that's like behind you roaring. There's magic going everywhere. Like it's clearly a very kind of fantasy version of all this. It's not trying to be gritty realistic necessarily. But anyway, you're Mordred, and you wake up in Avalon, which I feel like is some sort of afterlife or spiritual plane. I'm not sure. I don't know all the Arthurian stuff. Maybe you guys know more than I do. But anyway, you're in the dungeon of a rundown, pretty much collapsing Castle of Camelot, and you go through with one of the knights who you killed. Actually, reluctantly joins up with you, and then you kind of decide as you go through what kind of person you want to be. Now that you're kind of getting the second chance to rebuild Camelot and track down Arthur, who apparently isn't dead all the way. Like neither one of you are totally dead, and so you gotta try to track him down and take him out. And there's 4. Usually morality goes from like think of Mass Effect. You have Paragon or was it Renegade?
Renegade.
Yeah. So most of them have a scale where you've got good and bad, and you're somewhere in between. This actually has, and you can actually see the morality system. There's 4 points. So think of it like a plus sign. And so you've got Christian, Old Faith, Rightful, and Tyrant. I think that's what they are. So, but you can do a combination of both. You could be a Christian Tyrant or a Christian Rightful, or you could be Old Faith Tyrant and Old Faith Rightful. So you can kind of be a combination of these things. And depending on which direction you go on all these different morality areas, that unlocks missions and characters. And kind of like what you mentioned with how some characters might just ditch because they're out. I think in this case, I don't know if they'll ditch, but you'll be locked out of, for example, Lancelot. If you don't go towards Rightful, he'll never join you. Or like Morgana Le Fay will never join you if you don't go Old Faith. So it's just, to me, it's all very interesting. It's very complex. I mean, you get these heroes and knights very XCOM style, and if they die, they're dead, and you need to train up new ones. Yeah, you need to have a roster, kind of a backup roster of knights to fill in the gaps there if they fall in battle. So really cool game. It's very XCOM style with the grid and you take your turns and you can set up Overwatch type attacks and all that stuff. It's really good, really in depth though. So this game actually launched at the download size was like 120 something gigabytes. Like it was,
jeez,
it was crazy. It was like
that Call of Duty.
It was the size of like Call of Duty Warzone or like a massive MMO or something like that.
Jesus.
But they just recently did an update where now it's 38, which is much more reasonable. Still pretty large game, but much more reasonable. So
that sounds like a very PC game.
It is very PC. Although I do think they're
PC
working
squared.
So PC, bro.
Controller version of that too.
PC cubed.
I've always wanted to play. I don't know how to say this. I think it's Sakuna of Rice and Ruin.
Sakuna. Yeah.
Sakuna of Rice and Ruin. This game always is really cool to me. How is it?
So I'm about 5 hours in. The combat is not as fluid as I had hoped. Yeah. Visually, the game does have a really fun look to it. It's kind of reminiscent of not so much hand drawn, but it is like a little 3D of like the Vanillaware games. So like Dragon's Crown or Odin Sphere, that sort of vibe. And combat when you're in levels is left to right. But yeah, it's so you have like this energy grapple that you can use to kind of like grapple onto the side of cliffs as you kind of like traverse. Like you can go up and down too, but there's no kind of like dodge move. You're using the grapple as almost like a dodge. But what ends up happening sometimes is, depending on how many enemies you're fighting at once, if you grapple towards an enemy and kind of flip around them, you'll kind of just be sandwiched in between all of the enemies. So you're not really dodging anything. You're kind of then just like putting yourself really in more danger.
Gotcha.
So there's just like kind of little, and I mean, there are RPG elements to it. So I am learning new moves and kind of gaining, kind of more stuff. So maybe there will be something that's a little more like that, kind of like a traditional like rolling or dashing. Or there is a dash, but it's just more for like traversing. It's not so much for combat. But yeah, it definitely I was expecting it to feel more fluid. Like sometimes when you are trying to grapple onto, like you can grapple onto enemies too and like hurl them and stuff, but like sometimes I'm definitely like I feel like I'm holding it left or right, but it like goes diagonal. So like that kind of situation, like it's just not as like smooth and fluid as you would hope in a game that is, it's pretty fast. I would say it's pretty fast combat. So
yeah, the trailer made it look like lots of jumping around, lots of slam attacks and stuff like that.
Yeah. And when all that is happening and things are connecting, it does feel good. But yeah, there are just kind of little wonky moments like that. It's similar to like when I mentioned with Anno Mutationum, how like the roll move doesn't feel quite right because you have to like compensate for it, like depending on where you want to like be on the opposite side of the enemy, because it just like she rolls super far. So that sort of thing. But yeah, I mean, I am enjoying it, but I was expecting to enjoy it more. The farming element's a little unorganized, but there's also leveling with that too. So like with like a Stardew Valley or a Harvest Moon, like everything's very organized. You have a grid and you can like target the grid and kind of like plant your seeds. It's very organized and precise. In this game, it's basically like you're like when you're planting stuff, it's very zigzaggy because it's just kind of free roam. So as you're plopping down the rice seeds, it's just very chaotic. But like I leveled that up and then suddenly a grid appeared. But it wasn't like letting me target the squares. So, but there is like a little bit of a farming element. That's why it's called Rice and Ruin.
Right. I thought it was more of a farming element, and but combat's central. Would you say to the gameplay?
Yeah, I would say it's definitely a little more important because you're going out and you're getting resources and it progresses the story. So there's like a day and night cycle. And there are seasons, but it's very quick. It's basically like every 3 days the seasons change.
Yeah.
The
only other game that I've seen that does like really cool side-scrolling combat, and it sounds like this one does a pretty good job, maybe not perfect with side-scrolling combat,
right? And
then mixes in elements of whether it's farming or cooking or something. I've played Battle Chef Brigade a number of times. I don't know if you guys have ever tried that. That game, again, really awesome art style, and actually the cooking mini games
like
are
puzzle
quite
game,
fun.
right?
Yeah, they're quite fun. They do a good job with it, and then the combat's pretty good. It's pretty easy. It's not like super complex, but this kind of gave me vibes of that, where you're going to be going out to collect, ingredients and stuff with your side-scrolling combat and exploring. You'll come back to the kitchen essentially.
Yeah. That was a great game. Yeah,
that was a really cool game.
But yeah, it's fine. Yeah, I would say it's in the middle sevens for me at the moment. So
yeah, it's one that the price never goes super, super cheap. I'm always looking for a sale on it, and it never really seems to dip much below 30, like maybe 25 at the cheapest.
I think I bought it for 20. I think it was just on sale for around 20. I could be wrong.
It still feels like a game that normally should be priced 20 and should go on sale for like 10. And that's me being spoiled. I realize that. But like it's a $40 game that hasn't seen a whole bunch of discounts yet.
Yeah. I would say like depending on the person, like 30 is reasonable, but it's normally 40. I think 40 is full price. But if you can get it for 20, I'd say that's a fair sale. So if you want to try it, but
all right, last one that I'll mention is, and we already talked about it last week, so I just wanted to mention that I'm still playing and really loving Neon White. And I know it sounds like a very racist game. It's not.
It's Jeff's favorite game.
It is
so pale. You're neon white.
It's by the way, I don't think it's really a color, is it? I don't think it's a color.
It's a neutral.
But it is a surprisingly fun. Like if Mirror's Edge actually had really good gameplay and story, which is Mirror's Edge. Was that the name of that parkour game?
Yeah.
Yeah.
You got it.
Which those games they always felt like almost like they never quite did it.
Yeah, there's something missing from those games. I don't know what it is, because like as you're playing it, you're like, this is kind of cool, and then an hour into it, you're like, this is all it is.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah,
it's like there's something missing from
what
it.
I'm loving about this is I just hit I just finished mission, I think it's 8. So each mission is comprised of a whole bunch of little levels that I mentioned last week, are anywhere from like 18 seconds sometimes gets you the gold trophy, all the way up to over a minute in some cases, but not very long, right? The idea is to go through as quickly as you can, kind of learn where everything is, and then do it as quickly as you can. It's very interesting. It's arcadey in that way, but it has this really cool floaty parkour feeling mixed in with some shooting. Like now that I'm in later levels, I have to do a lot of shooting because there's a lot of enemies and it starts to get very difficult. And if you use up your guns too quickly, next thing you know, all you have is your sword, and it's just not going to get the job done.
So when you say use up your guns too quickly, it's a card-based mechanic, right? Because I remember seeing cards in the gameplay.
Yeah, so the card will pop up. Let's say you get this machine gun. It's a purple card, and it's a machine gun.
Yeah.
So as you shoot it, that purple starts to decrease off the card. It turns white.
Right. You described that before. That's right.
As long as and then before it goes away, and there's actually a little number there too to tell you how many bullets are left, and you can pick up more purple cards or more ammo cards that'll refill that if you want to.
Yeah.
But then that card, actually, its special ability launches a bomb out in front of you. So either to a wall or to enemies, and you can use it. And you need to use that sometimes to launch yourself up higher. Some of the puzzles require you to like launch up higher in the sky. So you might want to shoot that against the spot on the wall that you're jumping towards, and then time it so it'll shoot you up in the air. But as soon as you do that special move, that card goes away. So that's a discard when you use the special ability. And this is all done really fast. So I don't even think of it as cards anymore. It's almost like I picked up this gun, but if I use the special move, the gun's gone. So like I just unlocked this rocket launcher, which is awesome. It only has like 3 shots, but they're super explosive, and you can shoot straight down at the ground or at a wall, and it'll keep you launched in the air.
Yeah, Halo.
And then
Halo. Yeah.
Its special attack. Speaking of Halo, its special attack is a grapple, and so. But as soon as you use that special move, the card's gone. So you have to only use it when you're confident you're going to be able to pick up another card. And the way the levels are laid out gets so creative, where it's going to be like you pick up the yellow one, which is a double jump. So you use that double jump to reach this purple one, which then will shoot a bomb against the wall, which will launch you up. You grab the rocket launcher one, which you use a grapple hook to reach. Like it starts to piece together real fast. And if you were to tell me that that's actually something that you'll be able to play, like it builds up in a smart way to the point where I don't feel overwhelmed by that, I wouldn't have believed you. I'd be like, that sounds way too complex. There's no way I'll be able to get that and enjoy it. But the game starts off with very basic, run and jump over here, and then here's one gun. Shoot that one easy enemy that won't even hurt you. And then that's the end of that level, and do it as fast as you can. And then because the levels are so short, it builds up and it builds up, it builds up. And now there are times when I finish the level and I lean back and I'm like, dude, I should have been recording that. That looked so awesome. Like it looked like I looked like Dan playing this game. Like
you should throw up a video on our channel for it, because I mean, like, I'm curious how it looks as it progresses, like the combat, because that's what I was iffy on, was the card thing. But
well, what I'm also enjoying too is when you're hanging out in heaven. It's called the hub, where you go to hang out, and of course you start to discover that things aren't what they seem. And I just uncovered some story stuff that's actually like, all right, this is cool. I like the story, but the characters are surprisingly well written. And as you unlock the next mission, you'll get these golden tickets where these glowing angels called the believers will give you a little taste of heaven. Now you're a dirty sinner, and you're lucky that they're using you to help clear out. They want to remind you that you're a horrible sinner. We're going to give you a little taste of heavenly delights. So you turn in these tickets to taste the heavenly delight. And like at one point, your rival, who's very aggressive and very mean, he's neon green, and you hate him for a whole bunch of reasons as the story unfolds. But sometimes when you experience a heavenly delight, they'll match you up with him. So like the two of you had to go do a cookout together. And so it actually shows this evil neon green wearing an apron serving you a burger. Like it's very, I think some of that's a little anime in the way that they bring in some of that humor. Yeah. But it's done really well. And the writing, like there are times when I'm like, the guys on the show would love this, right? Like this is very clever, like very funny stuff.
Right. Oh, cool.
So, and I'm
glad I got it, man. It's like you said, it's on CD keys, it's $17.
Yeah.
Or $18, I guess, if you want to round up. So, I mean, for that price alone, for a brand new game that came out like a couple weeks ago, I would think it'd be worth it for that.
Well, of course, you've got Amnesia
everywhere.
In classic anime fashion, you have Amnesia, so you don't know your background, but everyone else seems to kind of know, and they're like, wait, you really don't know who you are, you don't know who we are. So like you're trying to figure, and that starts to unfold as things go on. But there's a Neon Violet is your classic what's her name, Jinx or Harley Quinn. She's that type of character.
Little loopy.
a little loopy, very into like tripwires and explosives, and like she gets mad at you at one point, so she sets up a whole series of levels that have these tripwires that are really challenging to get past at first, till you kind of figure out the mechanic of, oh, that's what I have to do with these. So yeah, man, it's gotten to the point now where I enjoy the gameplay so much, I'll go back and try to just get a higher score, because it's one of those games that has bronze just for finishing it, silver once you get over a certain time, gold over a certain time, and then ace is kind of your platinum, I guess you could say. And going back and getting that either gold or platinum is very satisfying.
Seems like a very like speedrunner centric type of game. Like,
yeah, for each level, right? I wouldn't say the overall game, but yes, for each level, definitely. If there's a scoreboard, of course.
Yeah.
If you get the gold, it'll unlock a level hint, which usually gives you kind of a secret path that you might not have thought to jump this way, which helps you get to the ace. So they kind of guide you a little bit on how to do some of that stuff. And then if you get gold, you'll rank up as you move along. And then what I've really enjoyed is as you find gifts. So if you revisit a level, you'll see this glowing, it's literally a giant present somewhere on the level, right? Could be in a hard to reach spot, but you go collect it. If it, depending on the color of it, if it's red, you give it to Neon Red, the girl that you like. If you go to purple, you give it to Neon Violet. So as you give it to them, it unlocks new dialogue, which is always entertaining. I don't know why. I should not enjoy the dialogue as much as I'm enjoying it, but I'm actually like chuckling out loud during some of the conversations. So it'll either unlock dialogue, or every 2 or 3 dialogue interactions, it'll unlock a side quest, which is just a bonus challenge level for that character, and it fits who they are as a person. Like one is very trap centric, one is very speed centric, one is very special move centric. So, dude, this game has no business being this fun, but I am friggin' loving it. I love this game.
Sounds like it would be fun to have like an accompanying animates for it too. From the way you're describing how well written it is.
We have enough anime in the world.
Hey, white guy, quiet down. That'd be really fun to kind of have like, maybe like a side story type of thing. It wouldn't have to like follow the game, but like the look of the characters I really like. And you're saying that it just seems really well written in the way that the characters interact. So it would be fun.
Yeah, right away, the premise of like being in this holy place with these believers who are clearly not nice at all. Like there's something off. And but you're going along with it because it's better than where you were before. It's better than being in the hell. So you're trying to figure it out as you go. That whole premise, all the lore that they put in there, is actually quite kind of interesting to me. So I like it.
Cool.
I like it. All right. Well, speaking of stuff to watch, I do think this would make a good anime show, which is why it makes a compelling game, because the gameplay is fun and the story moments are kind of almost like mini episodes to watch through. But I know there's stuff to actually watch, including I want to hear about Stranger Things. How did they wrap up this season?
Stranger Things.
Without spoiling anything. So just tell me that it exists, basically.
How did they wrap it up?
Well, they did, because this one more season,
by the time, let me tell you, by the time the last episode ends, credits definitely roll.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay.
Guys, I was gonna say the way they wrapped it up with two episodes. Both with different lengths. And they definitely had cameras there to film the actors. Had a lot of music.
I think a showrunner was present,
Yes, I believe
so. Is part 2 really like 2 long movies or 2
regular
size?
Yeah, very much so. Yeah.
One's a slightly longer movie.
And when one episode ends, you're like, that makes sense to end right there. And when the next episode begins, you're like, I understand why this is a 2.5 hour long episode.
Very much so.
And that's more detail than I ever wanted to give. So.
Shout out to the Journey remix, because that shit is fantastic. And I think it was in one of the trailers, right? I didn't watch all the trailers, so.
I think it was, yeah. Because I remember when it played, it's like, oh, they're playing this song again, but it was probably because I heard it in the trailer, yeah.
Sure.
They did. At the end of the first episode, that's how the first episode wraps up. It's playing. Oh my gosh, what song is it, Dan?
See, I only heard Metallica, and then obviously that Kate Bush song. That's very. Popular.
Yeah, obviously Metallica. I don't want to talk about that scene actually.
That scene is
separate ways.
Jeffrey.
Jeff. There is music in the show. That's what Jeff and I are
There is music. They use it well. And
Kyle,
they could.
Kyle, it's Separate Ways.
Separate ways. Yeah, Jeff, it's Separate Ways. They play Separate Ways at the very end of the first episode.
I don't remember that one for some reason.
But it was like an orchestral version. It's super sick.
It's very, very cool, yeah.
Yeah, whoever's doing the score for the show should just get a raise already.
This show really went to the next. I remember like when we were all complaining about one episode in the second season, and by we all I mean everybody else in the world.
Right.
Yes, because Kyle and I loved it.
I was like, it was like X-Men, like, and people were like, yeah, I hate that. I'm like, okay.
Oh, when she gets all goth
we're
and
doing
everything.
X-Men again in this series, guys, and that's not a spoiler. If you saw it's we're doing X-Men again. So like,
yeah. I mean, she has powers, right? Like she has like.
She is 11. We know she's 11 of X amount of people that have powers. So like,
this isn't news. Like,
yeah,
exactly.
I'm listening to a little bit of the remix now. It sounds amazing.
Remix.
I really. Are you listening to it? Yeah, it's really good.
Yeah, it's very good.
I thought it definitely feels like a season ending, which is nice. You know,
it reminds me of
like I can wait a year. You know, I feel very fulfilled of what I've gotten this season.
The mix reminds me of the producer Tommy Prophet. I've listened to a lot of his stuff because he does a lot of like kind of epic remixes of whether it's old songs or he'll do like his own. And I've used him for our Game of the Year stuff a couple of times for our Game of the Year videos. But anyway, that kind of build up where they just do a great job of of landing it, where you can feel the build up coming, you know it's coming, but they still do it so well. I heard that already on this remix. That's awesome. It's
really good. Yeah, I mean, this is my favorite. I haven't watched the very last episode yet, but this is my favorite season. Like,
what do you guys think about them splitting it up like this? Why not?
I honestly think it was smart because the episode 8 picks up right where episode 7 left off, and I was like, yeah, this was a good call because this is way too freaking stressful. Like, it was so
There's
stressful right off the bat that I was like, okay.
I was watching it with people. I was watching it with people tonight, and even these last 2 episodes, I'm like, there is so much going on. Like, I'm really glad that I only have these 2 episodes to think about because, like, I had the last 7, I think it was, to like digest and stew on and stuff like that, and a lot was happening this season, like a lot. It's crazy because everything split up all over the place, and that's
So they have to illustrate how they edit together, like them doing things concurrently at the same time, different places in the world. Like they continue that, especially in the last 2 episodes, where it's like it's almost montagey, where you're like, oh, now they're doing this at this place, now they're doing this at this place, and like there's so much, and it makes it feel more epic.
Works.
They make it feel like they're conveying that all this is happening at the same time, and like you get it without it having to be
it's
like
not confusing.
Yeah,
not at all. It is very.
This season's really well shot, and it's just like it's super well edited. Like there are scenes where I don't even know how to describe this, but like they're falling between like I don't know, like Jeff, you know what I'm talking about with like the bed sheet, and I don't want to give away too much, but like how they get into the upside down, like the way that's shot or whatever. It's just like.
The physics
I know,
of that, right?
Obviously, I know it's mirrors and stuff like that. But when I watch it, my dumb brain goes, "How'd they do that?" You know?
Exactly. Yeah.
It's just so well done and so well shown off, and then they're trying to convey to you a concept of like crossing thresholds and stuff like that. And I'm like,
I just pictured Kyle actually watching something, saying that out loud.
How'd they do that?
How'd they do that there?
Just plunking himself in the head.
But like it's just there's a lot of really cool ideas come to life in this season that it feels larger than it's ever felt before in all the shows.
Stakes are higher. Like
we're talking about in the chat, like this was
a
show that just one day was on Netflix, and then someone was like, "Hey, this show is good," and then that person goes, "Hey, this show is good," and then word of mouth, like infinity and beyond. Like now we're all here watching this show, but like there was no commercials.
I remember when I watched the first season, wondering like, will they get another season? Like, I like this.
Dude, same here. Yeah,
this can't be that popular, right?
Yeah, same here. Yeah. To learn it was so popular was it was a huge surprise.
People love 80s, like the Goonies, like people really love that style of like kind of like 80s.
Also, this is how I'm sorry. I'm gonna make Ghostbusters fans mad, so I'm sorry. This is how you use nostalgia. Not the way that they do in Ghostbusters Afterlife. This is do it this way.
So I don't care about Ghostbusters at all.
So happy Kyle's on my side about that.
Neither do I, Dan. I'm with you.
But I liked that movie, so I'm sorry. Like I did not dislike that movie. I didn't dislike that movie at all.
I just miss when Ghostbusters weren't like kids. So that was cool.
Yeah, my favorite thing was every time we saw an Ecto Pack, they weren't like, You remember that? You remember these? the movie like stops and goes, "You remember them?
Remember?
No,
Remember all the
doesn't.
things you already knew about? Remember that?
And then they show a trap, and the movie's like it stops and it goes, "The trap's there, right?"
No, you know what it is,
Remember?
Kyle. You know what it is, Kyle.
It's
Kyle,
like,
yes.
And if you let me kill a baby. Since I'm making you guys mad, let me kill a baby here. Solo from the Solo movie from Star, it does the same thing where it's like Han got his blaster, huh? You know?
Remember that thing?
Blaster. Remember?
Kyle, you're clearly
So let me just be fair here, and just be like,
you're clearly anti-proton
Remember
packs. You're
Chicken Bring a
anti-proton.
Bandolier? Everyone where he got it?
Kyle,
there it is. Huh?
Your Star Wars credibility is safe here because you and I have mocked Solo.
And I actually love that movie, but it is obnoxious how much like it like
yes.
It's like eh.
Don't they do
Remember
some of
the,
that with
the Castle Run?
Don't they do some of that with Lando too? Like I can't remember it specifically. I feel like there's some stuff with Lando that he does and says too that's also like Lando.
It is, but you know what? I forgive that because Childish Gambino is just perfect. So
he's amazing.
He's so good.
Yeah, and he's great. He's great in that role, but there is a lot of like right hand. Remember when I called you that in Empire? Hand. Right?
Man, Kyle really just doesn't like things pointed out to him. He's just
no,
doesn't like it at all.
I don't like uncreative ways of conveying or weaponizing nostalgia. Like that's. I guess that's my.
I agree.
I guess that's my.
Remind me in the future if we ever actually hang out in person for me not to just be like, "Hey, Kyle, add that over there."
Actually, I love that. I love over obvious stuff like that. So I'd be all into that.
Because
he will Empire State Building, right?
He will kill you immediately.
So I think that Stranger Things might have been one of the first things to come out, the first season, that made people realize that they had an odd boner for 80s nostalgia. Because I don't know what other phrase to select because I've been drinking a lot of beer before I came on here. So
man, you and your
but that actually is accurate.
Partaking but like for real, I can't remember when. The general public was like, yeah, I think I like 80s nostalgia. Like,
I remember growing up being like, 80s music sucks. If you like 80s music, it's dumb. And I'm like, so when the sudden kind of thing happened where the show got really big, I was like, oh, people like the 80s? I was like, could have fooled me.
I think the 90s are going to happen before too long too. But
right now, the 90s has always been a nostalgic time for people. At least in my circle, I feel like there's a lot of people who like.
I meant like in pop culture with movies.
Oh yeah. I think we're about to come around. Yes, 100%.
I mean, just wait for Stranger Things because they admitted they said in advance that the next season, the last season, season 5, will have a time jump in it. And I'm like, well, you can't. First off, you can't do it any other way because your actors will be like 30 by the time you start filming. So that makes sense for that. But also, it's going to trigger this. They do. It's going to trigger this nostalgia in the general public and audience that will be like, oh, the 90s were cool too, right?
Yeah.
And they weren't. They weren't at all.
The 90s were awesome, Jeff. Shut up, dude. Jinko jeans.
Give me that Trapper Keeper.
Jinko jeans, dude.
I think we can be nostalgic for the 90s, but just. Yeah. Grunge was the right thing. I feel like the grunge thing was
needs to be like to me. I think 90s. I think
that.
I think of like Trapper Keepers and like gaudy colors and differently than the 80s though. Like there's something about 90s that were different.
Right.
There was, yeah. No, there's and I kind of made this point the other day with the different group of people. But I'm like, remember when like generations and decades felt like their own
separate
thing.
Yeah.
Like it's
a blur now. It's a blur now.
It's like 2005 and on. Like we've all been on social media. We've all been. I know social media has grown, obviously, but like we've all been stuck in this like meme sharing. Yeah. Like nothing has changed. Not even like music hasn't really evolved. Like it's like we're kind of the same sounds. For the last like.
I mean, for crying out loud, this show made Kate Bush that one song.
Yeah.
They running up that road. Yeah. Like that entire song is like a huge
I'm like, it's from the 80s. That's
all. No, it's interesting. If you think about 90s though, like 90s was kind of the start of everything that we have today. So like the internet started, like Microsoft Windows like became the regular thing that everyone used. Like I think of Windows 95, and even like
RIP Internet Explorer.
Watching or Netscape Navigator. You guys remember Netscape Navigator?
Yeah.
But
why is everyone using Alta Vista?
Tokyo Alta Vista.
Why does everybody in this town still use Alta Vista?
Ask Jeeves. But
Ben getting mad.
When I watched Tokyo Vice, I think takes place in '99, maybe.
Yeah, it does. Yeah.
There are elements of that I'm like, oh yeah, that's kind of before we had everything we have now. Yeah. But that's the thing
that
about
was the boy band boom.
Yeah. because dude, that whole thing with the Backstreet Boys is one of the funniest.
It's
thing.
not only the funniest, it's my favorite.
It's so good. It's so good.
Yeah.
Like, we know what that's about, right? Obviously. Anyway.
Yeah, exactly.
But let's say there's something about the 90s that whereas 80s is a much more clear thing to capture because it's mostly stuff that we don't have or use anymore, cassette players and VHS tapes and all that kind of stuff. 90s was the beginning of digital that we sort of have today. It was just crappy versions of it.
Oh yeah, sure.
And so it's a little harder, I think, to convey that in a very nostalgic.
Well, and like the electronic scene was kicking off at that time, and now like techno and art, I guess you can't call it techno anymore. But like electronic music in general is like it's the biggest thing in the world now. So it's like
a lot of things Vanilla Ice or something, but it's like
you know what show captured, believe it or not, what show captured like early 2000s, late 1990s nostalgia perfectly is Pen 15, the show that was on Hulu for like 2 seasons.
You mentioned this one,
yeah, dude. They nail it perfectly because we were that age, we were that age, like in high school, middle school, whatever, experiencing the AOL Instant Messenger. We were experiencing all the things that they're obsessed with,
the dial-up connections,
and to the point where, and they nailed it so perfectly that it made me like feel nostalgic for a time period that I felt you couldn't be nostalgic about because
when's the last time you asked someone ASL?
Yeah, exactly.
ASL, that's right. When it didn't stand for American Sign Language.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's funny too. Like I remember when people wanted to get online, you had to make sure no one was using the phone. And if you wanted to use the phone, like, are you online? Like, get off the computer.
You cut out my Kazaa download when you picked up the phone. You're screaming.
Or I'd be whining to my parents, like, so and so down the street, they have 2 phone lines. They can get online and use the phone at the same time. Like, how come?
I said to my parents maybe 1,000 times. I was like, if I mow enough lawns, we can get our own second phone line. I can.
Or when
going to be on the internet all day.
Or when Time Warner introduced Roadrunner internet speeds, I was like, oh, Roadrunner, that sounds fast. I bet you that's fast.
Where DSL started getting thrown around, you're like, what's
DSL? Yeah.
DSL.
Get the new DSL internet. It's like
now
what?
fiber is like the new. Do you all get fiber? Or,
fiber? Yeah, do you have fiber where you are? No.
Yeah, I'm not because I still don't have it in my neighborhood.
I'm not a millionaire. Get out of here.
Remember how we had to like download porn in the 90s and it took so long?
Oh, dude,
so long.
It would line by line.
Like, yeah.
You know what? I don't know what porn is. What are you talking
about? The Pen 15 show captured that really well. Pen 15 would have them look up an image of like a hot dude or whatever, and it would take like forever to load, and they're like constantly like looking over their shoulder.
And then it would like cut halfway through the download, and then like would never
Mom,
load.
get off the phone.
Yeah,
get off the phone.
It was right there. I was at neckline.
Is that a Hulu show? I need to watch that.
It is Hulu. Yeah.
I need to check that out.
It's very funny. It's a short run. They decided to end it after 2 seasons, but it's fine. Where they ended it was fine, so I'm okay with that.
Well, listen,
the way this season ends, it sets up for what could be one of the most epic final seasons ever.
Like, do we know like episode count for that final season already?
We don't yet. No.
Okay. So this is something that could be right for a spoiler cast at some point if you guys decide, because I probably won't watch it for a little while. I will get to it when we get back to Netflix. We're trying to be smart with our budgeting and all that boring stuff.
Yeah, I totally know what budgeting is now. That
because Netflix is not cheap, man. Netflix is
not anymore.
They're about to add that ad service.
But I think once I kind of catch up on what I wanted to catch up on with something like HBO Max, which is $15 a month, I could see myself pausing that, getting Netflix back for a bit, catching up there. Like I think that's kind of how I'll juggle it. I'll juggle it a little bit like that. What I love about HBO is that they'll throw pretty new movies on their service quicker than you would anticipate. So
and they always have shows coming out. Like
they do, but
nice solid.
As soon as I feel somewhat caught up, I might go like, all right, let me pause that and come back to it.
Like, what's this?
You still haven't started, Tim. You're the only one that hasn't started Barry yet, right?
I have not watched Barry yet.
Okay.
Barry.
HBO, man.
Can't wait to talk about that with
I mean, I'm watching Curb for the first time ever.
I love that you're watching that, dude.
It's so good. Yeah.
You were right though, Dan. Like seeing all the gifs and memes kind of come to life in the show is pretty fun, right?
Yeah.
I mean, it's actually kind of terrifying though as I'm watching the show because I'm like, Shit, dude.
That's me.
I'm basically
We're all Larry,
like,
but that's the genius of the show is that
Yes.
like he hit such a nuanced like annoyance about every little thing that at some point you have to like, oh, I agree with that. Yeah. Him being annoyed by that resonates with me in a really deep way.
Dude, honestly, more often than not.
Same here. Yeah. There's a wobbly table episode, and I'm like, dude, nothing on earth makes me more mad than a wobbly table. And like,
dude,
he like
the whole
he can't control himself about how he feels about this wobbly table. I'm like, dude, I've been on first dates, and I'm just like, I can't focus on what you're telling me.
Just holding up his little
table is so wobbly.
Dude, he and that guy that works there were going so back and forth for so long about that too. Oh my god.
The whole Ted Danson episode with the shirt that has the stain on it.
Yes.
Or because that one's great. He's like, you didn't give me a gift, you got me an errand. You know, I love that whole.
Or just like anytime somebody's like, hey, it's Larry, and they like try to set up like a friend date with them or something. He's just like, I mean, we already live near each other in California, and we don't see each other then. So we're in New York now. Why would we hang out now?
He tosses like a wrapper in someone's garbage can. It's like, hey.
And it's like, well, I mean, they're gonna take the trash. What does it matter? There's like, but it's my trash. It's like, but they're gonna take the trash.
That's good.
Why does it matter?
I gotta rewatch that show, dude.
It's so good.
It's great. Yeah.
I just finished season 3 of Always Sunny, so this is right actually season 2, whatever. So season 4, I think, is when they started removing episodes from Hulu. So that's kind of why I stopped. I wanted to pause and see if I could find the episodes that were missing somewhere else.
Hey, if you do, let me know, because I've never seen.
Yeah.
It would be all the Lethal Weapon episodes, right?
Yeah, it's all the blackface episodes. Yeah.
Okay, so the Lethal Weapon episodes, I'm sorry to say, Tim, are the best episodes.
Yes.
That's what you guys have told me this, and I'm very sad about this.
So they removed. It's not all the episodes.
Because here's the other thing too.
There's like 4 or 5
blackface on Hulu, Netflix, and Amazon all got.
Here's the other thing. Like I'm not watching this as someone who's like, I love some good blackface content. I want some racists to tell me some jokes.
Yeah,
that's not what this is. This is me watching. These are 3 incredibly brilliant comedians and writers who come up with the funniest scenarios, and they've created these horrible caricatures of bad versions of people, and sometimes themselves a little bit. But like, they're very fun to watch. There's not one moment when I think like, Charlie Day thinks this, or Rob McElhenney actually. I don't ever think.
Tim, I hate to break it to you, comedy stopped being comedy about like 3 to 4 years ago.
I think it's starting to circle back around. But anyway,
I hope so. Yeah.
I
think
I
feel it. Yeah.
I want them to double down on the black. No, I'm just kidding.
What else are you guys?
Just a blackface show that's entirely blackface.
Blackface,
Oh my gosh, starring Justin Trudeau.
Oh man.
Oh my god. And the Virginia mayor.
And what's her face? Cara Dune, the girl that's Cara Dune.
Yeah. It's those 2 together. Yeah. And at the end they fight. It does not go well for him.
Oh man.
All right. So anything else, whether you're playing or watching, that we missed that you want to touch on?
I just wanted to touch on. I've been watching. I'm halfway through it. This show called The Bear that's on Hulu.
This looks good.
It's through FX. Yeah, it's a restaurant show. Yeah. It stars the guy who played Lip in Shameless, who I've always thought was the best actor on that show by like a mile.
Oh, really?
And that's saying a lot because there's a lot of good actors on that show. But like, I was like, this dude's a star. He's got to be in everything, and he's the lead in this show. So the premise is the lead guy's brother passes away, but his brother owned this restaurant that's in Chicago that's kind of like a staple for them. It's like this famous beef place that's in Chicago. So it's not a 5-star restaurant, but it is like a famous local eatery, basically. So he takes it over after his brother dies. But the thing is, the lead character was a chef that came from a 5-star restaurant, and Joel McHale actually plays his old boss and kind of cameos in it. And he plays this chef that's like just talking crap to him, but like not in a way that Gordon Ramsay does where he yells. He's just standing behind him and going, "You are such a piece of garbage. You cut that onion like a bitch." He's so mean and cruel and unlikable. And the lead guy just has to sit there and take it. He's just like, yes, chef, or whatever. So he's trying to implement things he learned in 5-star restaurants at this new restaurant, and not a lot of the cooks are on board or whatever. So I think it's just so well written, and every single character, every single cook in that kitchen is so well written that it's just awesome to watch. And it's like a breezy. I don't want to say breezy. There's thematically some challenging things going on here, but it's a 30-minute episode.
Well, even the trailer seemed to show like there's going to be some cultural and background and racial things that are going to come into play here, which to me, all that creates very human, very interesting interactions and stories.
Yeah.
So
there hasn't been, I thought there'd be more of that. There hasn't been a lot of that so far, but you definitely feel the stress of being in a kitchen during a rush hour. Like, I mean, they definitely emphasize that.
But he went from 5-star to like, isn't he more like downtown, kind of a smaller?
Very downtown, more urban, whatever you want to call it. More diverse crowd instead of just like rich white people. So like
real people, basically. He went from like fake people to real people, basically.
So I mean, man, it's just so well written. It's the guy who created it. It's his first time ever creating a show. He produced 8th Grade. He directed like Bo Burnham specials before Inside. He's directed like a lot of specials, and he did a few Raimi episodes.
But not a whole lot of show running type stuff for show.
Yeah, this is his first time creating something from scratch that's his. And it seems like he did his homework, because if you look at like Reddit or whatever, they'll acknowledge this as one of the most accurate shows from a kitchen perspective. Like, apparently this show did a lot of its research correctly.
It's the Scrubs of restaurant shows. You know? Yeah,
exactly.
That's like Scrubs' big claim to fame is like, we really did our homework on like the actual health side stuff.
Exactly, like the hospitals.
That's cool.
Yeah,
I like that. Yeah, a little extra attention to detail. You know. Yeah.
Right.
Nice.
Yeah, but it's got me eager to finish it. I just haven't been able to.
Is that full season out, or is it still releasing?
Yeah, it just all launched at once. It's 8 episodes, I think.
I gotta watch this.
Half hour each. It could be really easy to get through in one sitting, but I just randomly decided to put it on at like 8 p.m. so I couldn't get through all the way through it. But when I did start it, I was like, man, I don't want to stop. Just keep going.
I gotta pause my Columbo and Dark Side of the Ring watching. Those are my 2 main shows right now.
Don't you dare pause Dark Side of the Ring.
Dark Side of the Ring is so great.
Yeah.
It's so good.
Dude, it makes me. I just saw the one real quick with and I've seen this story told a bunch of times about Owen Hart, but just watching this one, the way they did it this time with really like honing in on the wife specifically.
Yeah, because she's never really had a chance to tell her point of view before.
And his kids got to share a little bit. It was just like, dude, again, I know documentaries can make anything look like anything. I get that. But he so comes across as one of the really good ones that was in wrestling.
Yeah.
And I always kind of thought that, but I didn't know for sure. But watching this, it just makes it so much more sad. It's just like, he was legit a family guy, like a family dude. He was a good dad, a good husband, was not
legacy wrestler family, you know.
Yeah, like I'm sure had some issues, but generally was one of those like those really good guys. And he was just on the cusp of probably going to break through.
Right.
And I remember they even talk about this in the Dark Side of the Ring, where they're like, Eddie Guerrero and all those guys are about to join WWE, and that's probably when he would have started to shine again, because they weren't sure what to do with him, and they would have been great.
Yeah, they kept giving him this silly cartoon gimmick of the blue blazer, and he's like, all right, whatever, I'll do it 100%.
What ended up killing him, but anyway.
So yeah, and they even show the fact that they
faulty harness stuff.
Yes. The fact that they could go that deep and show you what went wrong.
She showed what the harness. It was like a sailing harness. That's meant.
Like, I was looking at that and I go, no, I'm no harness expert. And I was like, you're not hoisting me at 300 feet in the air, you know, like.
She said it's one that they normally use for sailboats, and it's meant to open when 6 pounds of pressure is applied. And I'm like, what is he? 230 pounds of muscle? Like, of course it's gonna open.
He's a bigger wrestler. Obviously, it's gonna crack. Yeah.
That's why the second that it jerked, like he just.
Here's the thing that frustrates me the most with this, with Vince McMahon especially, because who is becoming more and more villainized with recent stories nowadays, which is great. But like, he has always, his claim to fame was, I'll never ask you to do anything I'll never do myself. He didn't do that stunt.
He would never do that.
Well, and it was weird. Like they
and if he did, he would have paid the money for a good.
They carried on the night with like his blood still in the ring. It was just really tacky, and like there was a lot of tackiness to it, you know.
And Undertaker came out for a main event match with Stone Cold, like, and this was like a couple hours after Owen's incident. And like Undertaker, you could see had tears in his eyes walking down the ramp, because that was like, it was right before that Owen was announced as deceased.
Yep.
So like, you can see, if you go back and watch the entrances, you can see wrestlers very shaken about what happened. That was
super rough. Also, I gotta just say, I think Peter Falk is one of the more underappreciated classic actors. I know he died probably 12, 13 years ago now. I forget how long ago he died. But I guess as a kid growing up, I just thought of Columbo as this smart, bumbling detective. That's what he is, of course. He is that. But he has incredible comedic timing that I didn't really appreciate till I'm watching it now as an adult. And watching his timing with some of the stuff he's doing, I'm just like, he was really good at this. And I kind of looked up some of his other stuff he did before Columbo and during and after. like he was actually in a good amount of comedy stuff, like in some comedy ensemble casts for a few things. Like he's good, man. Like he was really good actor. He was really good. And he's very funny, and a lot of it's very preposterous, a lot of it's very silly and dated, but a lot of it is incredibly clever. And it's also fun to see other classic actors like your Robert Conrad or Dick Van Dyke, or these guys come in as the special guest villain, basically, for him to. Oh, and Johnny Cash was in one. I mean,
Really?
it's as the killer. So again, very dated, but like just so fun. I'm really enjoying.
I hear that often about that show from people that are like our age.
Yeah,
like people genuinely like that show still. Like
literally, I literally never heard of it until you posted about it the other day.
I legit enjoy it, and I was talking to my wife about it. I was like, is this just because I probably watched maybe 10 total episodes with my dad when I was younger? Not that many, but enough. You know, we watched it together enough times. And now I'm going through and I'm seeing episodes I've never seen before and all this stuff. It's not a long conjoined story. It's all just one like killer of the week type of a thing. But they were like hour 20, sometimes hour and a half long episodes. I think like it was almost like TV movies they would make, and then they would space them out sometimes with months in between. Like it was almost
things of
it was almost like TV movies is what I'm starting to realize as I look at the history of it. But yeah, man, I think it's and they would oftentimes invite recurring actors back to play a new villainous role, even though it's the same actor. Like Robert Culp, you might recognize him if you look him up. He kind of looks like Dick Van Dyke a little bit, but he was actually most famously from I Spy with Bill Cosby. Funny enough, but anyway,
that's why I know that name.
He plays 3 different villains in 3 totally different storylines, even though he was caught all 3 times. But they just keep having to come back because he's great. He's great at playing that role of a guy who's very confident, incredibly smart, but Columbo just pushes the buttons in the right way. And he's so bumbling. Like, for example, I just watched an episode, not with Robert Culp, but with the regular Columbo episode, where he's trying to track down this homeless wino guy who happened to hear the gunshots of this murder. And so he goes into this homeless mission or homeless shelter, and all the nuns won't let Columbo explain who he is. They assume because he's wearing this ratty old jacket that he wears in every episode, and he always looks disheveled, they just assume he's a homeless guy off the street. So this whole thing plays out and he plays it so well. Like you could tell he's a very funny person, because he doesn't know how to quickly interrupt them to say, I'm not a homeless man, I'm a detective here to talk to someone. So they all the way to the point where he's sitting at the table and they're serving him soup, and he kind of just gives up like, this is pretty good. He just starts eating the soup. Like it's just so good. It's good, wholesome stuff, man. I love it.
And it's during the era of television that people, like families, used to just gather around the television and go,
yes,
it's on, get over here. It was appointment viewing, which used to be a thing.
Yeah.
Now we view appointments differently, where it's like it's an appointment for yourself, it's personal. But back then it was like it was airing at a specific time, and if you missed it, then you missed it. Yep. You had to watch it,
And early on, it wasn't as much of a thing, but as the show went on, people started to realize that audiences love his one more thing moment. That's the classic Columbo thing. Was he would finish talking to the main guy who you can tell that Columbo's onto this guy. The guy thinks he's scot-free, and the guy explains some scenario that seems to have satisfied the question. And as Columbo's leaving, he's like, I'm so sorry to interrupt. I'm so sorry. And he'll start walking out, and all of a sudden he'll be like, oh, I'm so sorry. Just one more thing. He does it every time, and it's so satisfying every time. Like, again, I feel like I'm living in the 70s when I watch this show. It just takes me right back.
This is why Tarantino made a fake show around it, and he wants to make a real show out of the fake show he made from Once Upon a Time in Hollywood.
Yeah.
Because he just loves that era of television so much for a reason,
Well, I was always curious about Columbo's eyes, if he was just kind of cross-eyed, because he's got a weird look.
It looks like it's that actor, yeah.
So I looked it up. He was 7 years old when he had cancer or something behind his eye and had his eye removed. He's had a glass eye since he was 7.
Wow.
Oh,
okay.
And so
I have a friend that actually had that happen to him, and he doesn't have a glass eye or anything. It's just
I assume it's glass eye, but yeah, it's obviously not his real eye there.
Right. I didn't realize that. That's wow.
Yeah.
I had a cyst in my eye when I was a kid, and I had it removed when I was like 3.
Jeez.
So it would have grown right here in my right near my nose, and it would have grown like past my eye and been like the size of a tennis ball.
I wonder if that's similar to what he had, but back in the day they just didn't know.
They didn't have to remove my eye. It was right here on my nose. It would just blocked my eye completely.
Dang.
So I was very lucky that it wasn't inside my eye. Good Lord. Can't even imagine.
That's some scary shit.
That is scary. Yeah. All right, let's do some Kahoot. Some Kahootin'.
Kahoot!
Oh shit! Here we go.
Good
Let's
Kahoot
see if
fun.
I can, pick a name that it satisfies.
Kahoot!
Yeah.
All right, so let me share my screen.
Damn it.
Let's see here.
Kahoot.
Start sharing. Don't need sound. Okay. Can you guys see the Kahoot purple screen here?
Mm-hmm. Yep.
All right, we'll go to classic mode. All right, so the pin's going to load up. You guys on whatever device. Here's your game pin. You log in. I mean, it's easier if you use something close to your real name, because last time I really couldn't tell who was ahead. That was annoying, but you don't have to. You can use Knuckle Biters or whatever you had.
Don't put me in a box, Tim.
How's that?
Jeff the winner.
I was
Jeff, go to hell.
If you're listening to this audio only, I'll try to make sure I read the questions and answers clearly. I know last time I didn't do a great job of that. And then, but also you could jump over to YouTube and actually watch it.
God, you fucking.
It's still got it out for Dan. Oh,
Dan won't
Hold on. So let me try. All right. So get rid of that. I'm gonna do just a normal,
Not Tim. I like
Not
that.
Tim.
That's good.
All right, that's good. That's great.
That's good.
Don't tell me who to name myself as, Tim. All right.
This is Kyle's rebellious phase, everybody.
Oh,
Yeah.
man.
Kyle is not Tim. All right, so we got Jeff the winner, we got not Tim, and we got nice guy.
Nice guy.
Oh, nice guy. Dan.
See, so nice guy's acceptable.
Nice
but
guy's
Nice
fine.
guy, Dan.
Yeah,
All
because it's not something
Yeah, it's
obscene
not
like you're
like-
trying to force.
All I
something.
did was
Rapist
go
or
right. Go
whatever
to
the
hell.
word you're typing.
You
Go
can't
to
say
hell.
Is this website run by
Of course it's
Christian
not gonna take
maniacs?
place. Go to hell.
You know, stop. trying to
Hell's
push
not a real
boundaries.
place.
If you can't be funny without curse words, you're not really funny.
I do think they keep
all
it
go to
very PG because it's very like a lot of people use it for work. That's where I learned about it. Was a work setting. But
Whatever. This site sucks.
I gotcha.
all right, here we
I'm gonna make it
go.
my personal mission in life to destroy
This-
this website.
This Kahoot quiz is all about celebrities, mostly actors, but celebrities and video games.
Cool.
So here we go. You guys, do you have your devices all set to go, right? You're good to go?
Yeah.
All right,
Yeah,
celebrities
this
and video
nice
games.
guy has it
Here we
upset.
go. First question coming up right now. Which British comedian voiced the character Wheatley in Portal 2? Russell Brand, Ricky Gervais, Rowan Atkinson, or Stephen Merchant? I added images this time. You guys got it, Stephen Merchant. I added little
Lucky
GIF
guess.
images. Isn't that fun? Isn't that fun?
That's super
Everybody?
fun, Tim.
Yeah.
This
Okay.
site still
Yes.
sucks. This
I
site,
was
this
trying to-
That
site,
is actually fun. I liked it.
this
I
site
was
can
trying
eat a
to
bag
check
of
it.
dicks.
Are
all
there
right?
supposed to
This
be
site-
images? I don't see any images. I just see graphs.
Not yet. Like at the begin during the question, you'll see like a little, or
Oh,
I'm
okay.
sorry, during the answer options, you'll see like a little animated
Okay.
GIF.
Oh, now it's a matter of speed. Okay.
Yeah, speed plays a part. That's for sure. Here we go.
I think that was always the case.
Yeah, I think that's
What was
always been.
Troy Baker's first credited video game voice
Oh my
actor?
god.
Oh, that's
Aeon
interesting.
Flux, Full Metal Alchemist, and The Broken Angel, Blood
The
Rain
free-
2.
Now I see the image.
Others
The
than-
GIF.
Oh yeah, I love it. Oh, I really
Oh,
like
that's
that you
great.
grabbed that. That's amazing.
It was Full Metal
Ah.
Alchemist and The Broken.
Ah, damn.
Suck it.
That's an anime,
Now,
not a game, but that's fine.
I actually
Yeah,
saw
I thought it was an anime.
I saw a clip. No, this is the game version of this. Was the first
Oh,
game he was credited
okay.
with, and so I really because he talks about it as Brothers in Arms was the first one, but if you look back, and I don't know if it's release date related, but this is the first one that was released with him credited
Yeah, that's
Um,
right.
years before Brothers in
Full
Arms.
Metal
Was
Alchemist.
he in
Brotherhood.
Blood Rain 2?
He was, yeah, he was the
Okay,
main.
I got that right
the
at
main
least.
guy.
Oh, okay, I was about to
That's-
say. I, was
yeah,
like,
that
I
was
remember
my
him being
thing,
in that
Kyle. I
game,
was like-
so I picked that one too. I was like,
Yeah.
that's exactly what it is.
Yep.
Whatever.
All right, here we go. So nice guy in the lead right now. Here we go.
I don't know who that is.
I don't
so
know either.
could
None
be
of you are
anybody.
nice. Andy Serkis voices characters in a number of video games. Which of these games was he not involved
Oh
with?
man.
Is it Enslaved, King Kong, Heavenly Sword, or World of Warcraft? One of these he was not involved with.
Ooh.
World of Warcraft.
Okay.
I
He
got
was
that
not
right.
involved. So of course,
I
Enslaved
thought
was
King
the
Kong
one.
was a misdirect.
It's good. I like where your head's at. You know.
Yeah. By the way, some of these I made tricky on purpose, and I'm not sorry. Okay, here we go.
He wasn't voice acting in video games when World of Warcraft came out, so I thought it was easy. Whatever.
Good job, not Tim. Proud of you.
I know.
Not Tim, but
nice
nice
guy. I
guy.
hope you die in a fire. I don't know what happens. when
Yep.
you go.
Oh, that's
then-
aggressive.
Jeff the winner, ironically in third place. Here we go. Which of these celebrities has never been credited with a video game voice performance? Harrison Ford, Liam Neeson, Russell Crowe, or Susan Sarandon?
Oh, this is interesting.
One of
this
them
is tough
has-
as hell, dude. Are you kidding
One of them
me?
has never.
I
but
took a
the
shot
other-
in the dark. It's
Same.
either. All right, I got it right. Wow.
Ah,
Wow, holy
Russell
crap.
Crowe. So Harrison Ford, I can only find one, and that was in the Lego Star Wars as Han Solo.
Oh wow, really?
Get out of here! No way, man.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, I think Liam Neeson has done a couple of them, mostly I think Star Wars related.
Fallout 3.
And I found one for Susan Sarandon, I think. And I want to say it was maybe a Fallout game. It was one of those bigger games.
Susan Sarandon was like the one I was like most confident in. I was like, I know I've seen her like, and Liam Neeson just because Fallout 3. Harrison Ford, I actually didn't know. I actually would have never thought in a million years his grumpy ass would agree to this.
To be honest, when I first came up with this question, I thought he's probably going to be the answer. Let me start with him, and then I'll find 3 others. But nope, he was credited with one. So there you go.
Wow. Oh wow.
I probably would have picked him too. All right, here we go. Not Tim is in the lead. Nice guy in second. Jeff the winner in third. Here we go. Number 5. This Hollywood director worked with Capcom to direct a live-action trailer for Resident Evil 2. This director.
I don't remember
George
this.
Romero,
Well, the person
Robert
who I thought it
Rodriguez,
was is not there, so I have no
Wes
idea.
Craven or Kiyoshi Kurosawa. One of these directors, one of these horror directors, teamed up with Capcom. George Romero. Yep.
Okay. Did someone get that right? Good job. Right.
Is that Dan?
Yeah.
Nice guy.
That they actually made a big deal of this one. Like Capcom actually put that on the trailer, like directed by George Romero for their trailer. Like they made a big deal out of him directing their live action trailer.
I hate this so much.
I was honestly, this category, I have a category that I was gonna do before this one, Jeff, but I was like, that one's maybe a little too nerdy during times when Jeff wasn't gaming. So let me be nice and do celebrity stuff.
Ah, I see.
Movies.
So he said he created this for you to win, and you're still losing.
How the turntable.
Tim didn't say those words exactly.
This celebrity was such an avid gamer that his famous girlfriend threatened to break up with him because of it.
I remember this.
Zac Efron, Henry Cavill, Jonah Hill, or Post Malone.
Damn it.
Oh my God!
Really?
I swear that was Henry Cavill.
Yeah, I could have sworn.
We all picked Henry Cavill.
That may have been the most confident I've ever been choosing an answer.
Wow,
So-
Zac Efron?
So Henry Cavill may have had a girlfriend threaten him, but wasn't a famous girlfriend. Zac Efron was famously dating the other girl from High School Musical.
Yeah.
What was her name?
Oh boy! Don't
Vanessa
tell me
Hudgens?
because I cannot lose another.
Vanessa, whatever. Anyway, apparently he was very into one of the Halos, Halo 2 maybe or Halo 3, and like played it a lot in between working out. I'm guessing.
Henry Cavill said he almost lost a job and his girlfriend playing World of Warcraft. So I was like, it's him for sure. You know?
Yeah. All right.
Tricky, Tim.
Number 7. Which of these actors has not played the role of a villain in a Call of Duty game?
Oh, okay.
Kevin Spacey.
Kit Harington, Jeremy Irons, Kevin Spacey, Lance Henriksen. One of them has not been a villain.
Oh, I'm kind of. Oh, good.
Jeremy Irons.
Cool. All right. I actually thought it was.
Why am I here? I don't understand.
This is your night. This is your night, Jeff.
Jeff, how the turntables have.
Of course, Kit Harington and Kevin Spacey are a little more obvious just because their likenesses were on the screen, and then Lance Henriksen, he did the voice of General Shepard of the original Modern Warfare trilogy. He was like a major villain there. But
interesting.
Jeremy Irons, no video game credits, at least not for Call of Duty. Not Tim. Taking the strong
at least that
lead.
means all.
You can say commanding lead.
This comedian actor was hired to host a 2007
Oh my God!
briefing and was infamously awkward and unfunny. Was it Mike Myers, Dane Cook?
I totally remember this.
or
Totally
Tom?
remember this.
I don't remember this.
It was
this is so. It stands out so much in my mind.
And it was so bad.
I think it was the same year as Mr. Caffeine. I think it was the same year. It was like an infamously bad like E3 where like everybody who showed up had like horrible press conferences and
was that the same year as the GIF that I put with the Peggle 2 guy? Was that him or was that a different year? That might have been.
It could have been. I don't know. I forget when Peggle 2 comes out, but like boy, yeah, there was a real cluster F of a year one year, and those two being part of it.
That was a rough one.
I don't like that you said GIF, Tim.
Number 9. Sorry, GIF. This actor played roles in Psychonauts 2. This one's tricky. Psychonauts 2, Broken Age, Lord of the Rings, and Legend of Spyro. This actor played roles in all 4 of these.
Yep.
Yeah.
You guys got it.
Jack Black was a red herring. You're tricky, Tim.
So just to be clear for the listener, I put Jack Black, Sean Astin, Hugo Weaving, and Elijah Wood. All of them played in some combination of these, but only Elijah Wood did all.
Yeah, I only knew
Also,
Elijah.
all of them Lord of the Rings actors except Jack Black.
Except Jack Black. Right.
I only knew Elijah had been in Psychonauts 2 and Lord of the Rings games, and I was like, that's enough for me. So that was my logic there. I was not familiar with Spyro or Broken Age.
Yeah, I actually didn't realize how much Sean Astin has done with voice work, both in animated and in video games. Yeah. He's done a lot. He's done a lot. All right, here we go. Not Tim as a commanding lead. I don't think.
No.
If Kyle wins this, that means one of three of us will have won each game. That's so fun.
I won already before.
Yeah, you've already pretty much captured it.
But now
it's a battle for second place.
That was you, Jeff.
I thought Dan won the last one, and then I won the one
I might be able to look back.
No, you won both, which is why it's.
No, I didn't win both. I
won one of them. Yeah.
All right, here we go.
Because I was real proud of myself.
This actor was replaced by Nolan North, who re-recorded all of the voice work as the ghost.
Come on, guys.
In Destiny. Peter Dinklage, Peter Sarsgaard, Peter Stormare, Peter Griffin. You guys got it.
Yeah. You guys know this one.
It came from the moon.
It came.
You mean the guy who was the guy who was asleep in the voice booth?
I always laugh. Everyone's just like, he sucked. He sounds so robotic. I'm like, yeah, the robot sounds really robotic.
Right. Yeah. Exactly.
What a real hot take on that.
Actually, I don't even think he sounded robotic. I thought he sounded bored. He sounded like a bored
human. He
did
sound bored, but like a bored robot. You know?
Yeah, I guess. But Nolan North was so much better. I remember playing that game before.
It was
Peter Griffin. That's a funny.
Yeah. There you go. I was hoping.
Hey, you gotta go over here. Lois.
I was hoping someone. That's good. That's a good Peter Griffin. That's good too. All right.
Meg.
So let's see the podium. We already know who's first place.
Who was it?
Oh, Jeff the winner's in third.
And
Nice Guys in second.
The irony.
I had to jinx myself.
And Not Tim is our first place winner. There we go.
Feels good.
As long as Not Tim wins, everyone's happy.
We could call it. We could say reigning champion too. We can say that.
Oh, okay, that's fair. That's totally fair.
Sure.
I'm gonna leave this podcast right.
Oh, it gives me some difficult ones. The girlfriend breakup one was difficult.
Okay.
We should do JRPG quiz next time.
Yeah, when I'm not here 1 week, you do JRPG.
No, you're gonna be here and you're gonna do it. God damn it.
You're gonna play and you're gonna lose.
That'd be hilarious if I won that one. Honestly.
Yeah, I would just kill myself. Well,
that was fun. Well done. Good game, everybody. I've already got 2 or 3 other ones kind of in the pipeline. I still need to finish out questions for them, but I've got the.
So I won the first one. I'm looking back.
I swear you won.
I'm gonna do like a really deep cut Star Wars one, just like watch y'all like flounder for real deal, like shit that I know.
Canceled Video Games was the second one. Who won that one?
I don't know who won that one.
I'm checking the YouTube.
Oh, okay.
If it would just catch the F up.
If our episodes weren't so long, it'd be easier for it to scrub through. It was
Cucky McCucker. I don't remember who Cucky McCucker was.
That's me.
That was you?
Yes.
Uh-oh. All right, so Dan, I need to do a pure JRPG Final Fantasy one.
That's what I'm saying. Reigning champion. All right. 2 in a row. That's reigning.
That is reigning.
That's some cuckery. That's some cuckery right there.
You're right.
Cucky McCuckery.
Cucky McCuckery.
All right, so for the next couple of weeks, I mean, we've talked about how 2022 has been a less than stellar year for most people, although I think there's been a lot of diamonds in the rough for sure. But the next 2 weeks look very dry for game releases. If you look what's coming out, there's not a whole lot. So for my plans, at least for the show, is to do a couple more games, or actually have an idea of doing this is completely stolen, because I just listened to the It's Always Sunny podcast where they did this, and I thought it was a lot of fun. It was their version of Newlywed Game, where we would keep it, of course, like video game and maybe movie and TV show centric, where essentially we would have to get dry erase boards, ask a question, and whoever's like let's say if it's about me, and we say what would be Tim's favorite sandwich, if it were about video games, Tim's favorite sandwich, and we all write it down. I have to write it down in that moment too. I don't do it ahead of time. I do it in the moment, and we see who. But we do a video game related, like favorite.
I love that. Yeah, I love that.
So I thought we would do a Newlywed style game to see if any of us actually listen to each other ever at all. That'd be fun.
Spoilers, I don't. Sorry, guys.
So we'll do something like that, I think. Maybe another Kahoot game, but there's just not a whole lot of new releases coming out. I also thought we might kick off another backlog Hall of Shame next week. We'll see how that goes. But then other than that, it's just maybe some random TV show, movie, or game that we want to talk about that doesn't have
Thor
to
is next
come out.
week. Thor 4.
We'll talk about Thor.
Thor.
Good luck with that, guys.
Which, by the way, we're getting into headlines anyway. Did you see the headline that said that Christian Bale had a scream he really wanted to do, but they had to cut it because it was too disturbing or something?
Yeah.
Too tense.
Really?
I did. Wow. Yes, I did read this. Yes.
Yeah, I was fascinated. I was like, please put that in the cut, like the deleted scenes, because I got to see this.
I didn't know that at all. That's crazy.
Yeah. And also,
Taika version of this movie out there, guys. Like, Taika was talking about it. He's like, yeah, they're like the original cut was like 4 hours, and how they whittled it down to under 2.
Wait, it was
crazy.
how many? It was Thor hours.
4 hours.
It was 4 hours long.
The 4 hours. The 4 hours.
I also saw him talk about how he was very aware that the design, like the comic book version of Gore, was very Voldemort-like, and he was aware of that. And they decided to keep the general vibe and the sword and things like that, and the character, but changed his look. And I think it was a smart move.
No Leiku, no head tentacles.
Correct.
That's all right. There you guys.
He looks he looks like he's gonna do some stuff.
Very menacing, man.
Yeah, it's gonna.
The very first time they showed him off, and he was in that like chronom, black and white. Like I was like, yeah, that works for me. That's pretty menacing.
I mean, the cast they have, I don't have any fear of any of them doing a poor job or phoning it in, just because the cast they have is incredible. So I'm just curious what the story is going to be. So I'm looking forward to it. All right, so some headlines. Some of them are good, some bad, some in between. It's about Sucker Punch, and this is something I think Dan added, but the summary is that there's no Infamous or Sly Cooper anytime soon. Not only have they said that they, as their internal team, have no plans to revisit them right now, but they've also confirmed that no other outside studio is working on these franchises right now either.
That is quite literally a Sucker Punch, so good job. They lived up to their name.
Yeah.
Good one.
No Infamous?
I want more Tsushima, so, whatever.
I'm a little surprised that I feel like both of these are kind of due for...
I think they're both moneymakers, too, to be honest.
I'm super bummed about no Infamous. I really like those two Infamous games. I mean, the third one's good, too. But
I like the third one.
Thank you for, separating them, though, because the first two are really good, and the third one's just good. Well,
I like Cole's story. Like, there's, a whole arc, and then, Delson gets introduced, and it's like, all right, but then they just did the one game.
The gameplay in the third game is really good, but the story of that first game is so excellent.
Oh, yeah. Yes.
I have to admit, I haven't played either of the first games.
Oh, it's so good.
It's very good. Those are both PS3, right?
Those came out around the same exact time as Prototype did. So there was this open world kind of hero thing going on there, and man, I always thought Infamous was the better of the two. So.
Yeah, it's just a very dark stuff that happens in that.
Infamous is just a super dark superhero game.
Yeah. I think they're both on.
I only played Second Son.
They are.
Oh,
Me too. Yeah. I played second, but I finished it. I like that
good.
Game.
It is good. It's just the story is not there in the way that it is for this.
It was also close enough to the launch of the new consoles that it felt like a next gen title to me.
It was a very next gen title to me as well. Yeah.
I thought it looked really good and it was really fun to play.
I like the moment to gameplay too, like the side activities that you have doing and the clearing out of bases and there's the game had a really nice progression and pacing.
A not overwhelming open world. Yeah.
I think it was a good setup for him because the whole thing with the Infamous games is the kind of choosing good guy, bad guy, right? Like Renegade or Paragon sort of thing. But I think it was a good setup, honestly, if they wanted to make another game of having Delson actually be the big bad, because what his powers are is absorbing everyone's powers, right? So that would be an interesting big bad who's just taking everyone's powers and
be like Sylar,
powerful.
Sylar vibes.
Yes. And then bringing back Cole, because there's the two different paths with Cole. Kyle, I'm sure you know, there's kind of two different things. So in some way, very comic book way, kind of I
like the idea of bringing back the old hero to face off with the new hero that you.
Yeah.
That was always the big fan theory. After that third game came out, so the next game they're gonna do, they're gonna face off.
First Light, I thought that was a pretty decent little expansion. Spin-off game.
Just a cool character too. The girl that can control light particles or whatever.
Was that Ashley Birch also?
I think so.
Or was that Laura Bailey? It was one of those two.
It was one of those. Yeah, it was one.
It's always one of those two. So
yeah,
they're the Nolan North and Troy Baker,
right? Yeah,
the female.
Pretty sure Delson was Troy Baker too. So.
Yeah.
An Indian American guy or Native American guy. So
Cory Barlog from the God of War team. Of course, he's not directing the Ragnarok sequel, although I do think he's involved with creatively and all that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
Anyway, he's confirmed through some frustrating responses on Twitter, which people should just get off Twitter. I think everyone's just frustrated on there all the time. But anyway,
yes,
Or
waiting to be frustrated.
But the good news there is that we get a lot of news out of it. But anyway, he insists that the God of War sequel has not been delayed, which you can infer means it's still on track for this year because it's technically supposed to arrive in 2022, and he's saying it's not delayed. But there were some leaks, some industry insider info that June 30th was when they were planning on announcing the release date, showing the special editions, and I think those are pretty well-founded, but I think they've internally pushed back the release date announcement. So they didn't ever say anything official. June 30th, we will be. They didn't do that, but I think internally they decided we're going to hold off on this for whatever reason. And so he was just responding to that. In addition to defending, and I think rightfully so, just like we talked about with Obi-Wan, people going after actors. Now people with video games, of course, continue to go after developers. It's just like, stop. And so he came out not only for his God of War team, but also for the Return to Monkey Island folks. He's just like, leave developers alone.
For real.
Yeah,
bro.
the Monkey Island guy said he won't even show anything anymore.
Yeah.
Leave everyone alone.
How bored do you have to be to go after the Return to Monkey Island guy? That makes
that guy
no
has
sense.
to be the jolliest guy on earth.
Well,
right?
like he left the industry, right? And then he came back to make the sequel, which he was like reluctant
making
about.
Fun of Warren Spector, like, oh yeah, you and your System Shock crap. You know, like it's just it's so weird.
The Santa Monica Twitter page had to literally do like this whole like this tweet of like, hey, like let's just be better. And like, I don't know, Tim, if you also noticed, like there were some female devs like tweeting out like, yeah, so getting dick pics from random people and like being like, where's the date, and like sending it. It's like, what the fuck's wrong with you people? Like, are you kidding me?
That's so weird to me. It's like, not only because you hear about those kind of people all the time who send explicit images, whether it's of themselves or who cares who it is. That's gross to send it to someone in a DM like that. But then to use that as a way to get their attention to ask a question about a game, like, I just
they're like, oh, here's the date. Like,
don't understand this. I mean, think back to the tactic there. Before we had all these social media platforms, you would have to actually write a letter, go to the post office, put a stamp on it, and send it to the organization. It would then go through their mail system, probably come through a few assistants or mail sorters, and it would never get to these people. But now it's going right to their inbox when they open their phone, and they're going to check their DMs. And there's something in between there that needs to happen. Like, there's no longer that filter system.
What's weird is any of these people even have like don't just be so open with your social media then. I think I mean, if I was one of these people, I'd be like, I'm gonna somehow make this as private as possible. Like,
I already have a game plan for if one of my songs happens to take off by accident, because God knows I'm not putting in the work for that. But if that ever happens,
self-deprecating over here.
Such a musician.
But if that ever happens, I already have a plan to just delete all the apps from my phone.
Right, just delete everything.
Just have somebody else manage that shit, because I don't want to talk to these people. I'm like, no offense, thank you, but also some of you are weirdos, and I don't want to talk to you. Like, it's just, I've seen too many horror stories,
So dumb.
That's why people have full-time social media manager jobs. Like, people scoff at that all the time, but that's, in my opinion, especially for an organization, or if you work for if you're a kind of a figurehead of any kind, if you represent the company in any way, like, have someone who's managing that stuff for you, at least your official accounts.
If you're in a position to hire somebody for that, for the love of God, just do it.
It's just so strange to me, because like these people put in their bios.
You can hire freelancers for that now.
Like honestly, after everything, I know we're not circling back to Obi-Wan. I'm just saying this is one solution I thought of after our conversation with Disney. One thing they could have done is, for anyone involved with any of our properties, we've got, part of it is you're going to actually have some of our social media folks help manage your accounts or help shield you for, like, filter out whatever. Like, it'd be great if there was some kind of protection there. Again, like a mail room at an old school office building. Don't let every piece of mail come through. That's insane. There's some idiots.
Right.
Okay, there's a lot of idiots, apparently.
But also just be smarter and don't share like everything. Like, just, I don't know. I feel like some people are just way too, like, I get that you're proud working at Santa Monica Studio, but I don't know, like, just don't put that in your bio. Also,
or if you do, don't like close your DMs. Like, you have to, I have to follow you in order for you to DM me, or whatever the rules are that you can set.
Yeah, there are ways to restrict people from
these social media platforms also need to be like give way more options of letting people have more privacy settings.
And it should default to the private settings, and you can open it up if you really want to for whatever reason. Yeah.
It should be way more intricate and break that down more,
Agreed, across the board. But yeah, the crazy video game maniacs who are sending dick pics with "where's the date on this game" to somebody, do you think they're actually reading a tweet by Santa Monica saying "do better," going, "Oh, I should do better"? Like, no, those guys aren't doing like.
Yeah.
That's where it's a crazy cycle. It's
like that the bit Bill Burr says where it's like the guy that beats his wife sees the billboard. He's like, "Oh, dude, yeah. Oh, okay. Yeah. I'm sorry, honey." Yeah. Like, it's like, no, that's not.
I think it should be a very simple. If that happens, Twitter should already see it. But if they get reported, then they, I don't know, can't DM or use the image function or something, like turn that off for them. I don't know. Listen, I don't know if there's a solution. It sucks. It's stupid.
Yeah, I mean, if they can restrict YouTube creators like that, where it's like, oh, well, this one video is problematic, even though we didn't have a human review it.
Yeah,
we just know it's problematic.
Yeah,
and
or if it's a brand new account with no followers,
monetized, like
brand new account,
do the same thing.
Brand new account, no followers, can't send DMs. Yeah. Like you have to have your account for a certain number of days, certain number of followers before you can DM other accounts or something. Like there's ways to do this.
I think that that one platform what's the one platform where like people organize for January 6th? I can't remember what it's called. It's not it's not the Trump Truth platform that he launched after the fact. It's
was it AOL? Else. Was it Netscape?
No, it was called something else. I can't remember. But I think they had like a verification system. It was like way too far reaching though. They wanted like the last 4 of your social and shit. So don't do that. But I'm saying that everybody that signs up for an account, I feel like they should all get verified. Like one way or another, they should all find a way to implement a verification system where it's like, what's your phone number to set verification? Like I think there's a dating app that makes you take a picture of yourself and shit and like validates what you look like compared to your picture. Like, so I mean, there's got to be ways to verify. They just don't want to do it. It's like a whole other budget they have to put together. Probably.
There should be a basic intelligence test that you have to take. And if you fail it, a group of like the SWAT team shows up at your house. They take you away. They put you on an island with all the other fucktards.
Yeah.
And you guys can all just be dumb together.
Dude, then that becomes a new reality show. Yeah. It becomes a new reality show.
Dumb Island. There we go. HBO. Get on it. You got Nikki Glaser.
I would watch Dumb Island.
No, don't call it Dumb Island. Call it Fucktard Island and say it. Safe.
I can't do it.
It's not acceptable.
I can't do it.
I have a chip in my brain that won't let me say it. All right.
You had the surgery.
I had it. I had the surgery done.
The South Park surgery?
But it does kind of carry over some of the themes of our discussion from last week, and that is like all of these issues would go away if there weren't just horrible people who act on the dumbest of impulses.
Yes.
But now, because of that, decent people have to have conversations about, hey, how do you stop this from happening? It's so frustrating.
It is. You're right. You're not wrong about that. Yeah.
All right. But let's go down to some better news. A Nintendo Direct Mini, which they haven't done one of these third-party kind of partner showcases in a little while. It's been a long time, or any Nintendo Direct since February. We do have a reaction to this up on the channel, so go check that out if you want to. But some of the announcements that jumped out to me, let me know if you guys have any that I missed here. But Nier Automata is coming to the Switch, and it's not the cloud version.
Which is so sorry. So, can I just... I won't spend too long on this, okay? But you couldn't get Kingdom Hearts 1 running regularly on native hardware. But you can get Nier running. That game came out like just 3 or 4 years ago.
And it's way
the
faster.
Other game came out like 14 years ago.
Yeah.
But it's also way faster and more kinetic and chaotic.
Yeah, all of those things. Yeah, I just and again, I'm like, you got The Witcher running on the Switch, but like you couldn't get Kingdom Hearts 2 was just so beyond you.
Dude, I think they just didn't want anyone to work on it. I think they just wanted to
let's just put.
But it's going to include all the previous DLCs, and some new costumes. Comes out October 6th. It'll be $40. I didn't see anything about cloud version, so if it is cloud version, this is one of the sneakiest things.
It's Nate, because I saw people tweeting.
Yeah. People were like really gobsmacked about like just it being.
They showed a new trailer for Mario plus Rabbids Sparks of Hope. Ubisoft also did a feature on it, which was really cool. Deep dive into it if you like this game. But the big news to me was the release date of October 20th. They talked about some new gameplay features and stuff like that, but it's worth watching the thing on your own if you're interested. But that game still looks like a lot of fun. A very busy October month coming up for us.
Yeah,
here.
the October, and seemingly, if you follow rumors, November filling up pretty quickly.
Yeah,
Pretty
absolutely.
Quickly.
Yeah. It was funny because they said he introduced the Nintendo Direct Mini with, we're going to mainly be focusing on games that come out in 2022. And they went on in their first 5 games, I think 3 or 4 of them were 2023 games. I don't know. I feel like they just, it was very interesting.
Nice setup, guys.
Mega Man Battle Network
Slime
Legacy Collection. If you haven't played these games, they're really fun little strategy RPGs.
Yeah.
Very creative. And I just like the way they've taken that Mega Man lore and environment and characters and all that and turned it into a really fun turn-based RPG. And it really does take some smarts. That game difficulty, I'm not saying it's incredibly difficult.
It's hard, man. Yeah.
But the difficulty, once they teach you the ropes, it starts to spike, and you're like, oh, I gotta think. I really gotta think.
There's some actual unique stuff that you're doing there, like
But
and they turned into kind of like Pokemon games, right? At some point, where like you got red or blue, or you got like
It started to split, I think. Yeah.
I think so. I think there's like 9 games in this like package, but like
it's actually gonna come with 10s, but maybe
10. Excuse me.
Maybe that's because
but there are like dual versions of. But I think there's like different content slightly, so it's like it's
even with the dual versions, we might be looking at 5 to 6 completely unique.
Yeah, 100%.
Right?
Yeah, long RPGs. They're big games.
And the Pokemon connection is actually very apt because you play a human character who then uses these chips, and that includes like Mega Man and other characters.
Yeah, it's like a digital version.
It's like a digital battleground.
Like Digimon.
But they'll be you can either buy these through 2 digital volumes, or you can buy 1 physical version, PS4, PC, and Switch in 2023. Same with Super Bomberman R2 2023. That's another game that they announced. Pac-Man World, which is the PS1 title, getting a remake coming out in August.
The remake we all asked for, guys.
Yeah, finally.
That's the one. That's what I was waiting for.
Like actually,
I got out of my chair.
Is it heralded enough where people are like, well, I gotta have a way to play that game today.
Dude, I vaguely remember this game, and I remember it being on par with, like, do you remember Spot, the 7-Up mascot? They made a game of that guy.
Dude, that Sega game was fun.
Like Spot's Quest or something like that.
It's
anyway,
probably better than this game. So
yeah, so like there were elements of this that I thought looked kind of charming and whatever at first glance, but the more I thought about it, the more I was like, I don't want this at all. If I want a fun platformer, I'll just go back and finally single player through Kirby.
I just think it's really sexist of them to do a remake of a Pac-Man game. Why not Miss Pac-Man? Where's the representation of Miss Pac-Man?
Good point. It actually should be
take a lap on that
Pac
one.
Person.
Take a lap. All right, Kyle.
It needs to be Pac Person, and then no more separate.
Right, yeah. Non-binary Pac.
Return to Monkey Island is going to launch on Switch first, as far as consoles go. PC and Switch first, and that'll be this year. They didn't give a date, but they said still planned for 2022.
Do y'all play those games? You're all Monkey Island.
The Monkey Islands? I never tried them. No.
I've never played them either.
I swear I did.
They look quirky and like funny.
They're like point and click adventures, right?
Yeah. And I do like these games, and I'll go on a kick where I like these, especially the old school ones. Like I'll go back and play some old Sierra games, like Space Quest or King's Quest.
Like what a throwback name.
I enjoy. So I feel like I would enjoy these if I just kind of got into that mode and just jumped into them. I just haven't.
I just want to throw out there, people are again they're bitching about the way that this one looks. I think it looks much better than the older ones.
Yeah. What was it supposed to look like?
Well, they did a remake.
People started complaining. I'm like, well, I don't like. Was it
just a remake of the other ones? I think they were remade, weren't they?
I did, but I like this style. It feels unique to me. Like when you look at like the original versions of them, they look like kind of like old drawn cartoons. Like they just don't look super. I don't know. Maybe preference, but.
I agree. You're saying people are overreacting, Dan? That's weird.
Yeah, on the internet, no way.
That has never happened.
That's strange.
I know.
Sonic Frontiers is still happening this holiday, apparently. Listen, we did see some more footage. If you guys watched this, they actually showed off more environments. Like it still has that weird open area that they showed that made us all go like tech demo, right?
They confirmed that was an alpha version that they gave IGN.
Did. And if you watch this trailer, I'm trying to be as unbiased as possible because I already have negative feelings about what this game's going to be.
Sure.
And I really did think like, okay, this does look a lot more interesting. Like I thought the environments looked more varied. I thought it looked more action oriented.
Mm-hmm. It's so weird to me because that other show off was just weeks ago. Why not just start with this?
I agree completely. And apparently the news is that this was actually the Switch version, which I'm like, how does this look like this on the Switch? So we'll see if that's what the Switch version looks like.
Any sense.
I don't believe it. It's fake news.
I don't believe you.
Sonic on Nintendo? I don't believe so.
It was another thing that I said in the reaction video was that some of the environments reminded me of that Korean kind of Pokemon ripoff game that we saw announced last year.
Yeah.
I forget what it's like.
Pal something?
Dokev?
Oh, yeah.
Dokev?
I'll look it up.
Thanks.
Right.
It kind of like the environments look weirdly realistic, and you have cartoon characters on top of it. It kind of had that element to it.
Yeah, Dokev.
Dokev. Live Alive. We already talked about that. I'm finally going to start saying it correctly. Live Alive. Dragon Quest. I wish
to live. Live to live.
Dragon Quest Treasures kind of had a Dragon Quest Builders look to it, although a little different. Not quite as short, stubby characters. But the idea here is that you're going treasure hunting. You recruit monsters. It's a Dragon Quest spinoff, and that comes out December 9th. Right now, I only saw it announced for Switch and PC. I didn't see announced for anything else. The Portal Companion Collection. It's cool that it's on Switch. Don't get me wrong, but it's like $20 for Portal 1 and 2. Love those games. They're some of my favorites. I love them, but you can get them on the Steam sale for combined like $3.50 and play them on your PC.
And if you get like the orange box, you can also get like Half-Life. And
what is it, like $4 or $5 for
that?
Yeah. So all that to say, it's cool that it's on Switch. But I do, if you've got PC especially, or if you're gonna get a Steam Deck, totally go grab them over there. I thought Harvestella looked really interesting. That new Square farming RPG game.
Yeah. I really like the he kept bringing up the Season of Death. Just real casual. You know, he's just like, the Season of Death.
The Quietists or
whatever. You
don't
have Seasons of Death in your state? We have those a lot here, so I'm used
to
it.
When it gets cold, and I'm mad because I don't like the cold. So, Season of Death.
For Jeff in Texas, the Season of Death is when it snows once every 10 years, and it's like, what is this?
What is this? Our power grid isn't equipped
and then
for this.
His Season of Death takes all the power away, or whatever his name is.
Time for a death season.
But they call Death's Touch Cold, you know.
So this is also a November game, so November 4th, which is cool. For most of these kind of farming life simulation games, usually the combat looks like such an afterthought and ends up being an afterthought. I thought the short little clips we saw of this, the combat actually looked interesting, like kind of a little well thought out. So I don't know if it will be.
That was more what I was gravitating towards when I saw I saw this showed off, because I could give two craps about life sim farming. I don't care about any of that. But if the action is good, then I'll stay hooked for that. Like, when is that coming? You know,
guys, Rune Factory's been around forever, guys. So
that was what I compared it to. It was stuff like Rune Factory, where you go and do the combat, and the combat's it's fine. Maybe it's between fine and good, but it's not great.
It's gotten better, but it's not. Yeah.
And so when I saw this, I thought, I wonder if it'll actually be a really fun combat with some.
I mean, it is Square. Square does seem to be like they kind of care about their combat. Like when they make a game, they're like, let's really try to like kind of make the combat fun. You know.
That said about Rune Factory though, like I played so much Rune Factory 2 on my DS, like so much.
What if we make the combat an NFT? Then,
Nope. Cease this.
Cease this immediately.
Cease this.
The final direct mini announcements were all about Persona. So just like with Xbox,
I got out of my chair.
Did. Well, that's just because you fell out from falling asleep, but that's different.
I did not see that coming, Jeff. I did not.
They finally announced good games at this one, right, guys? Because
Persona
of the old games they announced for Switch, finally.
Persona 3, 4, and 5 coming to Switch, just like to the Xbox, where you've got 5 Royal hitting this fall, and then the other 2 coming soon is all it says for 3 and 4.
I didn't realize they weren't dropping at the same time. I thought they were.
No, they're all coming.
That's okay. 5 Royals.
That's exactly what it said for the Xbox too. It kind of had it spaced out.
I'm pumped for this.
Yeah, I think it's great. It's no longer just on Sony platforms. Like,
perfect.
Make more money.
Royal. So there's so much grinding that goes into these games that like being able to like do that like while you're like pooping or sitting at the bus stop or
Poop
whatever.
like a normal, or just sitting there not doing anything. I don't know.
Or just sitting there pooping
pooping
at the bus stop, whatever, like
They're perfect
but, like,
for Switch.
It's good. It's good to be able to like do all that stuff on there, like that's what was so nice about Persona 3 and 4 being like remade or retooled to be on like the PSP and the Vita respectively.
I played 4 on the Vita for quite a while. That was a good game.
And like they just fit well in those types of kind of like bites, those handheld bites, if you will. But also like 5 is such a like stylistic, sound-oriented experience that like sitting there on like a big speaker or on a big TV, like sometimes that's the experience as well. But like I think 3 and 4 are very, very, very good games to put on the Switch, and 5 is just a kind of a bonus. So.
I'm just glad they're putting on more platforms so they can kind of,
get
some more monies.
On Xbox, this is a series that I think like has potential to reach a lot of people. It just was only on one particular system, so didn't have the opportunity to reach as many as it could.
Yeah, just like with every other multi-platform game, if you're going to play it on a big screen and have other consoles, grab Persona 5 on the best version of console that you've got. But it's not a bad idea. It's gonna, from what I can tell, probably going to look and play just fine with the art design that it has. It should look and play just fine on the Switch too.
It's a little fuzzy, like the pictures that we saw, like of it playing like on the Switch. But
it won't
like,
be as sharp, but
yeah, but that's to be expected. But I think you nailed it, Tim. Is that like the art style transfers across generations very, very easily without like losing a lot of like sharpness or.
And I think for 3 and 4 you might not notice a difference at all, but maybe you would.
I don't think you notice a difference at all.
Yeah. They might look better actually on a little screen. So speaking of Nintendo, they're adding 4 Sega Mega Drive / Genesis games to their Switch Online service. Mega Man: The Wily Wars. I refuse to call it the Willy Wars, even though it looks like that.
Well, it's Wily.
I know, but it looks like the Willy Wars.
You're just thinking about Willy's, Tom.
Comic Zone, Target Earth, and Zero Wing. I haven't heard of any of these. I've heard of Mega Man.
Comic Zone like the side scroller, like where
you made them up.
I feel like I know Comic Zone at least.
Yeah, here's 4 phrases that Tim wanted to say today. that's the story.
Welcome to Earth.
Yeah, I think Comic Zone might be that side scrolling where you go through the comic frames.
Like yeah, the different
keep my movie quotes out your effing mouth.
That does ring a bell. Oh my gosh. That does ring a bell.
Sorry.
That was good. That was perfect. Guys, just like we like to do every week, here's your Ubisoft rumor roundup.
What do they do now, Tim?
My favorite segment of the podcast for sure.
What do now?
Well, they have a showcase coming, so there's like a lot of news leaking about them right now.
Ubisoft news leaking? No way.
It sounds like they might possibly, if these rumors are correct, have 2 of their marquee games. I'm not saying they're going to be excellent, but their marquee games on their calendar could be coming out within 10 days of each other. And it looks like Skull and Bones is the one we can count on more reliably, probably arriving in November, on November 8th. That's the leaked release date, but it seems pretty solid based on, it doesn't look like someone typed it up and took a picture of it and pretended it was real.
Yeah.
Like this looks like real marketing type stuff. It's on videos. Like November 8th feels like the real date for that game. I could be wrong. The other one, take with a grain of salt, Avatar Frontiers of Pandora is supposedly launching November 18th. According to some leaks. Now,
yeah, I think Deadline actually got the scoop on this, which is like a reputable, like
it makes sense, right? With the movie,
whatever.
though, right? Doesn't it make sense with the movie release?
It does, yeah, because that comes out in Christmas or whenever. I'm not going to see it.
Yeah, it's gonna come in December of Never Gonna Go.
Yeah.
So Tim,
December of 20XX, who cares?
So instead of Monster Hunter for the one half of the thumbnail, Tim, I'm just gonna do Avatar.
Avatar.
You guys seen Avatar?
Cool. I have 45 minutes of content for Avatar. If we know.
Will you write it? I don't know how to write.
So here's the thing with Avatar Frontiers of Pandora. I anticipate this to be a game that probably will be technically impressive. I don't think it's going to be ugly. It might not end up, but I also think it's going to end up being like a kind of a Far Cry DLC feeling experience where it's going to be like in the mid 70s and some folks really like it and other folks are like, nope, I hated the movies and I hate the game, So and I get
Watch Dogs 3. That's what it's going to be.
Yeah, it could be. Or like some of the other Far Cry spinoffs, like Primal and stuff that I liked, but not everyone did, But anyway,
I like Primal. Yeah,
did you?
That's a good spinoff. Yeah.
But this comes in with a lot of baggage, attached to the movie too. So we'll see. It
does, yeah. It's got an uphill battle for itself, but I think that this is something. I mean, because to it's a very video gamey world. You know what I
It
mean? So
It
it's like
is.
this.
I
Is,
thought
this
that
is
when I
something.
saw the movie.
This
too.
is something that could work, you know, in a video game, and you're playing giant, you know, blue guys who are swinging around everywhere. Like, there's a lot of video game mechanics that are like built into the movie. So, like, just to say something positive about it, like this is a concept that could work in a video game format, but like whether or not Ubisoft of all people pulls it off, I couldn't tell you.
And it's supposed to be a huge planet that we've only seen a really small portion of. So they have a lot of possibilities with environments and creatures if they decide to, but they might keep it very localized.
They're super into mounts, you know, so like you're gonna ride different, like 100 different animals in this game, you know, like it's, again, like there's a lot of built-in mechanics like already in there.
I anticipate a Far Cry-like experience.
I know we haven't seen anything on this game, but I do wonder if there's going to be an underwater mechanic, because, you know, James Cameron. Yeah. I mean, that's the name of the freaking second movie, is like Way of Water. Right, so there's going to be like a lot of underwater mechanics and like, or not mechanics, but like special effects and stuff. And that's what took them so long. So like, are they going to have to put that in the game now, because that's going to be a huge part of the sequels? I don't know.
When, you know, video games and underwater levels, always a slam dunk. Every single time.
Every single time.
Since the beginning of games.
I did not have a problem with it at all in Forbidden West. It did not.
I was literally about to say. It looks pretty, right? I mean,
it looks
the
pretty.
Water Temple and Ocarina of Time, guys.
You know, we should do a whole episode on favorite water levels, because I feel like Donkey Kong Country might actually have some pretty decent ones compared to the others.
I'm 1,000% sure I have a list on my phone about my least favorite water levels of all time in gaming. So we could 100%. We could make that a conversation real quick.
The Ninja Turtles game on Nintendo, original Nintendo, that had some tricky underwater levels.
Even like Mario, like in the first Mario when you were swimming, I'm like, I hate these levels. Stop it.
Because you have to time hitting the hitting the B button so you float down. Like,
So stressful. And
oh boy. Oh boy. Speaking of Avatar, though, and this is really funny to me. Speaking of Avatar, so this can't be real.
This is 100% real, I promise you.
Sigourney Weaver has been cast as another character in the sequel to Avatar, but because her character's dead. Sorry, spoilers from the first Avatar. She's dead.
How could she be in the movie if she's dead? Yeah,
that movie was so unmemorable.
And now they're pulling a Columbo where they just recast old actors because who cares? And they're putting her in there as their adopted teenage daughter.
Okay.
What?
She's the main character in Zoe Saldana's character's like adopted teenage daughter.
She's older than them.
She's like 70. It makes
in
no
human
sense.
Years.
Dude,
I'm confused.
Listen, I'm trying
they even put pictures of her up and everything.
As I said
a whole
earlier,
spread about Avatar. Like,
I'm trying to keep
it's
it
official,
but this is not sounding great.
This is ridiculous.
So is she not playing an Avatar?
She is. She's playing an Avatar, but she's playing
like
a native
hybrid, right? Because
in the first movie, she played a human who had an Avatar body and blah blah blah, and her character dies off. And then in this one, it sounds like she's playing an actual like whatever they're Pandoran, whatever they're called, Navi. She's an actual Navi.
Navi. Yes, you're right.
I'm just gonna keep calling them Avatar.
Avatar. Are you gonna be one of them blue avatars?
But she's actually not an avatar this time because she's not a human anymore. She's just one of the blue people.
Navi, yeah. She's adopted, so you don't know where she came from.
By the way,
I've come from that other blue clan. Who knows? I don't know.
I forget who was the pointed this out to me, but I've always made fun of their unobtainium name for their rocks that they are looking for because it's hard to obtain.
Yes. And fans of the movie are always like, that they say that in like science, right? Like, they say that for real when they can't define an element. I'm like,
it doesn't make it less stupid, though. That just
exactly. Imagine them sitting around the table, like, okay, what do we call this rock? It's hard to obtain. Like, you know what I mean? Like, I always think that. But I'm also thinking with the blue people that already live there. Like, okay, so these people are like they're native to that land. Native, no. Navi.
I mean.
Guys,
what about adamantium?
Found it. It's like, oh my gosh.
Anyway. Taken. It's too good.
A lot about that movie.
I'm just saying. I mean, adamantium. What's the deal with that? I mean,
lastly,
what's the deal with adamantium?
we talked about Persona earlier, but it does sound like Sega is looking to adapt their Persona somehow their IP into.
Didn't see that coming.
Live action film or TV.
Oh, that's the name of the song.
Yeah. Yep.
Oh, did you do that on purpose or?
Yep.
That's the name of the thing.
No, I did.
I totally missed it.
The name of the song is "You'll Never See It
Coming."
Wait, the song from Persona is that?
Yeah.
Oh, all right.
God damn
it was a deep cut. It was a deep cut joke that I was surprised that he made.
Did you not play Persona, Tim? The fifth one? No.
Yeah.
All right. Just
I didn't. I
going.
definitely
So the
didn't finish
Persona
it.
song is
every time you do anything in the game.
So the Persona
I don't
song
remember it at all.
it's quoting Quicksilver. Is that what you're saying?
Yeah, exactly.
What?
That's
Quicksilver
what
from
What's the
Avengers
deal
Age
with
of Ultron.
Quicksilver?
You'll never see it coming.
You didn't
Dude,
see that
I gotta tell you, like,
coming.
I was just.
What is that?
I know people
It's,
love Persona 5, and I don't hate it by any stretch, but I was trying to skip so much in that game. So I don't remember a lot of like the music. Like I was just trying to like, how do you go faster? Because I'm
The
tired of it.
music's one of the best part of
How
that
do you
game.
go
How
fast?
dare you? I am offended
Yeah,
on so many
all
levels.
that.
right
How
now.
dare
You
you.
sound like such a Derek right now.
Sorry. I'm very sorry.
Why is all this story in this story game?
Oh, wait a minute. You talk about that awesome narrative as you're walking back to the same apartment every day? That part of the story?
You're
Very
hanging out with the
important.
cool
I don't know.
cat, Tim.
Very important that I see that every
Hanging
time.
out with the cool cat,
It
Tim.
is, yeah.
Oh
So
my
then you have it
gosh.
every day.
But hey, now that it's on Nintendo, I'll probably play it and love it because it's on the right platform.
Okay.
It was on
feels right.
Sony. It was on Sony only. I couldn't enjoy it. Now I'll enjoy it. It's on Xbox. and
Sure,
Nintendo.
Exactly.
there's some math there. Yeah.
Yeah, that totally makes sense. That checks out.
Makes a lot of sense.
Okay.
They're not games if they're on PlayStation. I'm just saying.
Last thing I'll wrap up with, and I'm still
Sure.
waiting for my email from Valve, but it sounds like the Steam Deck production is ramping up, and some of that is due to what some folks are complaining about is they've partially, maybe a little bit downgraded what they're putting in as their SSD drives, but they're saying it doesn't affect, gameplay or the way it processes anything, but they didn't say anything about whether or not it slows down load times, which I think some folks are upset about.
Load.
It's just like a slightly good.
Damn
It's
it,
just
Jeff.
a slightly
I know.
lesser version of
You
the
got me.
SSD. So, but I think that's why they've been able to ramp up production, which means every Monday and Thursday they're going to send out new emails. Are you still laughing about the word load?
What is happening?
I don't know why I'm still laughing. I'm
All right,
sorry.
we'll give you a
I'm
minute.
laughing because he's laughing. I'm not immature.
Are you drunk and high? Like, what's happening?
Yeah, pretty much.
Load.
Tim's
Okay.
really disappointed in us. He's like, he's a dad. He's disappointed.
I was just waiting it out.
That's
I
what
drove.
we do with kids sometimes. Yeah.
I was just gonna say I drove my kids back from. It was like an hour and 45-minute, 2-hour drive back from camp. They were all at camp this week. The bigger kids were, and so like the whole ride home was just crazy stories and loudness and energy levels very high. So I was doing a lot of this on the way home. Sounds like fun.
Wow.
Yeah.
No way. That's
There's
me
so
while listening.
You were all a mistake.
Wow. Oh, no way. Oh. Wow.
But yeah,
Real.
I think that's all we got for this week. Oh, anyway, what I was gonna say was if you're like me and you're waiting for those Steam Deck emails, they're according to Twitter, Steam said that they're sending them out every Monday and Thursday. So they just sent out their first Q3 emails on Thursday. Our buddy Dan Phillips was part of that. I was not, so I'm hoping that maybe I'm in the second wave of Q3. Maybe I'll get mine, this week. We'll see.
I got mine reserved for sure.
Yeah, mine's
Because it's like $5 to reserve it.
I just think it's weird that Derek got his like so fast and like.
Yeah, I thought he got his around the same time you did, Tim. I don't know.
Well,
I guess he got it
everyone. I mean, yeah, we pre-ordered them the same day. People who
Mhm.
got theirs in February pre-ordered theirs the same day as I did. It's just I didn't get in the digital queue in the right way.
fast. Oh. Huh.
Did it wrong.
Sounds dumb to me.
Did it wrong. Yeah, it's no big deal.
He did it wrong. No big deal. You're just terrible.
Yeah.
It's
No,
not a
it's
big
stupid
problem.
though. Like
Alright,
I don't like.
I needed
what a
to
weird
spam the
lottery system
button
there.
better. I didn't spam the button enough. The refresh and
Yeah.
pull over button. I didn't do it well enough.
If you were a bot, you
You
wouldn't have this
didn't want
problem.
it. You didn't want it.
Right.
I'll tell you what I didn't do. I did not sit there during work hours on my work, personal, and phone, work and personal computers and phone, trying to refresh on all
Just
three of those.
spamming every machine. Yeah.
That is
didn't do that.
1,000% not how I got my PS5 and Xbox.
Yeah, that's not how I got my PS5 at all.
I can't even. Would have never thought of doing that. No.
Nope. All right, well, that does it for us for this week. Thank you guys for being here. Thanks for playing Kahoot. Congratulations to our reigning champion, not Tim.
Jeffrey Widman. Yes, that's right. Jeffrey Widman.
Not as long as you know it wasn't Tim. We're good.
It wasn't
All right, thank you guys for watching and listening. We'll see you next time. Bye.
Boobies.
Wieners.